4G still, and it didn't go all fairy again, so it looks like it could be working. See if we're on.
I don't know. I was wondering
We
if
just have to go to our channel to see.
Yeah, I know. I was just wondering if it's because you left the cover on.
Alright. Tucker? What's the time? Oh yeah, the nurses would have put the suppository in by now. He'll be well awake. Good morning. Tucker, here you go. All right? He's probably a bit drowsy. Isn't it great? You go to hospital to rest and they wake you up every 3 or 4 hours just to give you something to sleep. I'm not kidding you. Tucker will tell you.
Do you want to try and put it back in there for
No,
yourself?
it's all right. It's okay. Sure as eggs, you go to hospital, they do what they have to do, and then they go, Mr. Tucker, wake up. He wakes up and goes, what? I've got to give you some sleeping pills. I'm not lying. That's what they do. Bastards. Why can't they just intravenously? No, they've got to wake you up. Wake up, Tucker. You don't sleep much in hospital. You doze. You drift in and out.
Are you on 4G?
I am. Is it smooth?
It is, but it was spinning.
Oh,
but it stopped spinning.
Yeah, so all our good thoughts. Wishes go to the little furry rat called Tucker. Hopefully he gets what he needs shortly. Or gets what's coming to him. A busload of lesbian pole dancers fell off a cliff. They bring all these organs to him and he goes, I'll have that one. After he gets it implanted, he has this propensity to wear high heels and lipstick. Still. And we don't know if this hangout's working because it's about our third attempt. It kept spinning and collapsing. I'm on 4G now instead of the house Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I'll reset the house Wi-Fi tomorrow. I think part of it's because it needs resetting.
Could be an idea, yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow. You got 4G.
I was going to do a quiz tonight, but I don't know if I'll bother. You can hear the footy players training just over there. But it's a pretty good night again tonight, isn't it? It's not too hot, not too cold.
Put it back on there and took it off the cover. You could point it to my chicken.
There you go. Do what you need to do.
No.
No, your idea.
No.
You're the production manager. You do it.
I was just trying to give a different view of the thousands of people that's in the room.
Oh, gosh, there's no one in the bloody room.
I
See if
know.
I can spin the camera around. She wants the chicken. There's the chicken. All right. You happy now?
Oh, you did it.
Can I get any closer? I
Yeah,
can.
you can zoom in.
There we go. All the chickens you need. Yeah.
Egg, hammered.
We've known for a little while. I thought everything was supposed to be kept private, but that didn't last. Hopefully he gets what he needs to get done in the shortest period of time. It's my wife's idea to point at the chicken, by the way.
I'll just give a different view. It's my chicken.
I don't know.
Looks good. And my other little chicken.
I don't think that is a chicken, the other thing, is it?
Some sort of bird. Oh, perfect shot. How are you, Hamid? Am I saying that right? Hammond.
Ham and eggs. It's just brief. It's a play on words.
I know.
Hammered eggs. It's probably too early for most people. What is the time now? Is it 7 here yet?
Just 7.
Yeah, good. I've actually had a bit of a cold the last couple of days. I've been sneezing heaps. But But
I actually think we've got a good 40-second lag.
okay, I'm not worried about it. Are you?
No, it's technological.
So I had a couple of crumpets tonight with some cream of chicken soup. They say when you have a cold is to feed it. But the quiz will start shortly.
Hey, Shauna.
Shauna's there. Hello. The first question in the quiz is, how tall is that clay chicken? Is it only 1 inch tall? Is it 3 feet tall? Or is it 2 feet tall? Well, I'm going to give it to Hammers. It's about 20 inches tall, so yeah, that's pretty damn good. You must have calculated the size of the pavers cunningly. It's a cunning plan, Hammers. Calculated the size of the pavers, divided by 3, and then magically stood up those pavers next to the chicken to get the 18.9.
Hey, Itchy.
Actually, in that, we've had that for how many years you had that now? 4, 3?
No, since Mandra.
Oh,
That
good.
4.
5.
More. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, in that little chicken, because it is actually a planter, we've had some beautiful flowers, which I don't particularly like growing because you can't eat them. But we've had herbs in there and all that sort of thing. So that will be proudly in amongst the garden. Hi, Itchy. See you later. G'day, g'day. But yeah, oop, she'll get mad if I don't get the whole chicken in there. You know what she's like? She's very pedantic.
You bump the table.
But yeah, the pavers are coming up shortly. People keep asking, why aren't you lifting the pavers? Well, when we lift all these pavers, they'll just be dirt. We don't particularly want to sit out here with dirt, so just a couple of days before the big machinery moves in, they'll be ripped up. Actually, if you go to, and I'll get the missus to put her, well, I don't know if you can put a link to your channel in, and can you or not?
Why? Why do you want?
Also, they can go and look at some of the videos you're putting up now of Europe.
All they've got to do is click on my name in the room
Oh,
and
well.
say go to channel.
Yep, if you want to click on Mystic Angel's name in the side chat, you go to her channel. She's put up 4 or 5 videos so far, and there's heaps more. I only use my iPhone to do my videos, but she's got this fandangled thing,
Thank you, Shauna. Well,
and she edits and puts music in.
yeah, it's not like bloody Walt Disney come Paramount videos.
Yeah, but they're well done.
Plus-
You spend a lot of time doing them. I click, film, and upload.
Plus you're in, there's some videos of you that people wouldn't have seen because I filmed you.
Yeah, and I filmed you when I did most of mine. But of all the trip, people have asked me quite a lot what was the best part. Definitely Ireland. If you get a chance to go to Ireland, you'll fall in love with the place. The people are friendly. It's not that expensive. Food's great. The beer's great too. Guinness. I had quite a few Guinness while I was there. But like I say, the Irish, we've got, I don't know, a couple of million Irishmen living and women living in Australia. So they're just like us, I suppose, because we felt at home in Ireland. I don't know what it would cost to go from the US to, say, Dublin. Dublin's got a big airport, but I don't think it'd be that much. I think it'd only be about 9 or 10 hour flight, maybe less. I'm pretty sure you can fly from New York to London in about 7 hours.
But it's the...
Did you kiss the Blarney Stone?
Yes.
Yes, I did. I certainly did. And it's not scary, but you look down and there's like a 40, 50 foot drop, but there's a bloke hanging on to you.
That, what castle was that again?
Blarney Castle,
Blarney.
strangely enough. It's like, what were those creatures called in Gremlins?
Well, that's because
Gremlins?
they working on the videos.
I don't know what Shauna said then, I missed it.
Is my Blarney video up? Because you're in it. Your video of you kissing it's in it.
Well, mine's up of it.
And I think I'll put you in mine.
Sean had said something, it was too much.
When the Irish used to come here and work in the summer, they were the best people to hang out with, yeah. But it's the fun of flying to England and getting that ferry across and doing that drive to certain areas, then flying straight into
I think as
Ireland.
a tip, if we did Ireland again, and we may, I would probably buy a
Nice
cheap
deal.
car and we'd drive around Ireland for a few months because there's so much to see,
except north.
and we'd spend a week or two in certain places. You really need to spend time there. We sort of went through quite quickly, which every time we left a beautiful place we were disappointed. In other words, if we had our own vehicle, we'd just take our time. But Scotland will be the same. Scotland will be a beautiful place to go. The big cities aren't worth going to in the UK. They're just like every big city. Pick one big city in the United States and you'll find it just about the same.
Oh,
People are busy, traffic's terrible, can't get any parking.
some of the towns out of London.
Thin
were-
Lizzie House in Dublin. I'm not sure, we didn't get to go to Thin Lizzie in Dublin, but we went to Dublin. Dublin's beautiful. We actually had the Irish night out in Dublin, didn't we? Pretty sure we did.
Yep.
Yeah. We had a beaut Irish night, dances, and singing and drinking and Irish food. But yeah, it's a great place to go. Ireland, because it's not very big. I mean, you could fit Ireland into my state of Western Australia 100 times. That's how big my state is. But there's so much culture in such a small country.
Did you say hello to Phil and Kelly?
Learned the most about the business was from a Scotsman. Yep. I didn't see what Kelly wrote. Well, I don't get to see it all the time, remember?
Kelly said she's from the northeast England, and you're right about the big cities. And Rio is working from New York.
Yeah, it's like we've been around the globe, luckily, we have, in major cities, in Asia, Europe, you name it, wherever we've been. There's not much different. There's Coca-Cola, McDonald's, people driving around crazily, too many people, and usually in the big cities it's quite expensive. So we try to avoid them. But yeah, I think it's not the country you go to. I'm trying to make a point about what I'm trying to say. It's not the country you go to, it's the people. It's people that you get to love when you're in different countries. And I'll be honest, Europe is a mess. And I come from Europe in the late 1960s when I came to Australia. And everyone's angry. There's all these displaced peoples in all parts of Europe that the indigenous people, if you like, that lived there for 1,000 odd years, they're angry. We saw so many Germans in particular angry about all the homeless people.
But that was mainly Frankfurt. Outside of Frankfurt, because Frankfurt is just one of many.
Yeah, but the UK was the same.
Yeah, one of many cities in Germany. Frankfurt was a disappointment. Was the place my mum always wanted to go back and visit before she died, but she didn't get to. So
Which I'm glad, because she would have been disappointed.
she would. So we went. I sort of went for her, but
Yeah.
it was Frankfurt Airport goes through there. Yeah, sure. To go other places, not a problem. To stay within Frankfurt itself is not worth it. And the other sad thing was there was hardly any traditional German food in Frankfurt. We had to go way out of Frankfurt.
It's actually a clay rooster garden pot, and it's my wife's idea. I don't know why she wanted it to be on the chicken.
Oh, because it gives people a different view. Well, put
Yes,
it
they
on
get
you.
to look. They get to look at a clay chicken all night.
No, you can put it back on you.
I'll put it on you.
No, I'll put the gargoyle there.
No, it's quite okay. I'll take it off the rooster for a little while. They did actually, just as I don't think I've actually put this particular video up, Hammers, but we had a lunch near the last couple of days we stayed in Frankfurt, and there would have been 1,000 displaced immigrants marching for equality, for to be able to get on the social services there, to get health, because they're not allowed any of that. Even though in Europe you can travel anywhere, it doesn't mean you get that country's health benefits, etc. There are certain liaisons between certain countries, but and I didn't just watch the people in the there was 1,000 policemen. There was so many policemen.
You didn't put that video up.
I don't think I did actually, no.
Why?
Because it's a bit of conflict. There was no direct anger, but you could turn around and look away onto the side where the Germans were, and they weren't happy.
Yeah, but it was a public march, so if you're worried about putting it up, there's no problem. I'll put it on my channel. But I don't know why you didn't put it up.
We saw quite a few Russians, but they were tourists.
Seal,
Spoke to a couple of them. They weren't there living there. They were just on a holiday.
Seal, that sweatshirt you see or saw Seeds wear is, I got it actually from our local Kmart shop in Australia before we went away.
You're talking about this one?
No, your red one.
Oh, yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
or your new ones I got you before we went away.
Yeah. My missus doesn't spare an expense. I think she spent about $8 on that sweater. Top of the line. I'm not proud. If I find a second-hand shop that's got a good jumper, jacket, pair of shorts, I'll buy it.
You'll be surprised how many clothing in our Australia...
Irina, nice to meet you.
In our Australia, Kmart actually has wording to do with the US on it. Hey, Alan.
Yeah, but that's made in China.
I know, but it's just amazing.
It's like
how
how
much.
many shirts would you see that say, I love New York? And they're all made in China, and everyone in the US wears them, but most of the people don't live in New York. It's just a gimmick, a catchphrase like, shit happens. But it's like New York. I mean, we'll go there, but...
Oh. We've had Kmart since I was little. I used to go to
in
that
the
as a little...
60s, I think the 60s.
Yeah, as a little girl and go to the cafe that they used to have, and Mum always had mashed potato and sausages, and I always had mashed potato and a fish cake.
Tell you what, from the 60s, early 80s, it closed doing this, but for about 20 years when I was a kid, you go to a clothing store like Kmart or Woolies or wherever. Underneath was all the shopping, and then you'd always have stairs going up to food. Now I know it's the same in the 50s and 60s in the US. You'd have supermarkets or you'd have shopping centres, and above there was always food. And it was always cheap. It was always like pull your tray along and grab a bit of this, and pull your tray along and get a bit of that.
Except for David Jones, but we used to go and get a hot dog from David Jones on a Saturday morning when Mum did shopping.
The best you'll get now in Australia, because they've all gone, is we have a big timber company called Bunnings, and they sell everything from baths to plants to you name it. They always have a little kiosk selling hot food, but it's not like a restaurant, if you know what I mean. Always look forward to go shopping as a kid, because you know you get a feed of mashed potato and bangers and...
But on a Saturday morning, Bunnings do
Oh yeah, but
sausage sizzle.
that's not the same as a sit down. Some like I say, one of the things is anyone as old as me in the room? I hope so. Do you remember when you used to walk down your high street or wherever you used to live, the main street, and there'd be a baker and a butcher? What does Hammer say when I can't speak the language? No, language you pick up quite quickly actually, Hammers, believe it or not. You will, trust me, through necessity. But like I was going to say, when I was a kid, you go up the main street and there'd always be a butcher, a baker, separate, vegetable guy selling vegetables. There'd be a hairdresser for men and a hairdresser for women. They didn't have the unisex thing going when I was a kid. There'd be always a Greek on the corner selling hamburgers, and they'd have little pool tables in there. Otherwise, what I'm saying, all the things you buy from one supermarket now, there was dozens of stores who made a living. But all those people have been gobbled up. They've all been taken away. That's right. Even, what is a candlestick maker? Question 9, Shauna. What is the correct term for a candlestick maker?
Hey Jojo.
I'm sure you know, or you're busy Googling. What the f is that? Starts with C. But yeah, I miss those days when you could go to a baker, a butcher, a chandler to get your candlesticks. But they've all gone. They've all been destroyed. And you go to the meat sections of a supermarket, that meat doesn't look that good. Luckily, we have a butcher down the main street where we go, and his meat's superb. He hangs his meat for 10 to 12 days. I don't know who Candice is. Hello, Candice. It's not Itchy. That's not
No,
Candice, is it?
candle maker.
Chandler. So I was told. I could be wrong. But when it comes to things like that, we have still got a guy that will fix your shoes up. Jojo. You used to go up there.
Oh, Jojo.
You used to go up this, yeah, that'd be right. Unfortunately, most of the people who used to go up the elevator were men. Jojo, do you have something to tell us? Yep, this guy is still a cobbler. He did quite a good job on your shoes, didn't he?
Nice meeting you, Rio. Don't work too hard.
But
Rio's
I
making
miss
work.
not having that diversity. G'day, Arby. It's a shame that you've got just big stores now that sell everything, and it's normally, look, if you're brutally honest, if you're as old as I am and you remember the quality that the baker used to be and the butcher and all the other things that were individual, in the supermarkets they're not as good. The vegetables are stored in huge chambers of carbon dioxide to keep them fresh or look fresh for months. You know, when I was a kid, you'd have this flush of that type of apple, then after 6 to 7 weeks, it was gone. Not 6 months later, still being there like the supermarkets are.
Walmart was selling planes. Are you serious, Jojo?
My goodness,
You mean real planes or toy planes?
I think they'd be toy.
Hey, Tucker. Big hug to ya.
No, I want him booted. That's obviously an imposter.
No way.
Boot him now. Get him out.
No, he's getting lots of kisses from me.
Now, Tucker, while you're here, I have some advice to you. G'day, JP. It's very serious advice. It's not as if your sexual urges have gone away, Tucker, but you're trapped in this hospital. But you got that little sheep. But I have actually phoned the hospital and asked the nurse about 4 o'clock in the morning, because it's really quiet, just to turn the radio up a little bit, and also to turn the oxygen up to 100%. Because the last thing we want you to do is masturbate and collapse on us. So it's all been set up for you, mate, but 4 a.m. in the morning, which means, oh, you've already done it. It's good to see you, mate. Well, I can't see you, but I'm presuming you're sitting up and looking forward. Did they wake you up to give you some sleeping pills last night, Tucker? Because the last time I was in hospital, they kept doing that to me. Fast asleep, absolutely. And they, wake up, Seeds, wake up. And I go, what? What do you want? I just need to take these. Why? Because they'll help you sleep. I'm gonna fucking, come here! And they do that all the time. They'll be doing it to Tucker. Trust me. If Tucker's getting more than 4 hours sleep in a stint, he'll be doing really well.
Yeah, oh, the cobbler, my God, that's a business that you haven't seen around in, I don't know how long. Hammer was saying you used to take your ice skates to a cobbler to have sharpened.
Yeah, no, I remember cobblers when I was a kid. They were always the guys that used to make belts, buckles, hats, and all those sort of things as well. And women's shoes mainly. That's what a cobbler used to exist for, putting heels back on back breakers. We used to call them as kids. You know, when a woman's bum sticks out really nicely because she's got these big high heels. Well, when she turns about 40, she's walking with a cane with flat shoes. Oh, I shouldn't have wore those fuckers.
Yep, I light a candle for you every night and send you prayers and healings, Tucker. Always in our thoughts.
We did spend a bit of money. Tucker and 2 days ago sent a stripper to the hospital. Now, apparently, there's a report being required because the 74-year-old guy that she went to the wrong room with did die. But the coroner doesn't know whether to let it go because the smile on his face was quite prominent. But you missed out. Still, it's the thought that counts.
Yes, you got to get well, Tucker. You got to put up with us next year when we come to see you.
I've told him before, and I warned him. If you're under the ground, Tucker, when I get there, I'm going to dig you up. I'm going to slap you. And then I'm going to use you for great content. There you go, Tucker. Really good. Call me Bernie. Well, there is one saying which covers your future, Tucker. And it's assured you have a future because only the good die young. So you'll be around for a long time.
And when we come to visit, I want my own bathroom.
He'll say, yeah, here it is. It's called Victoria Bay. We met a couple of lovely Canadian ladies on our trip over to Europe. And where's one of them? You've got a better memory about where they are than I am.
Oh, some bay. Anyway, they were great fun though. One of them gave me a little Canadian moose with the Canadian flag, little pins. It was gorgeous. They were lovely ladies.
2 bathrooms. What are you talking about?
Yeah, our suits can use whatever. I just want my own ensuite, Tucker, when we come to visit.
I'll just piss on your tree. Don't worry me. I'll go out the back and Tucker's wife will be looking out the back and she'll say, look, Garden of Eden. And I say, nah, it's not a snake.
Oh, say hello to Krista. She said hello to you and you missed
Hello,
her.
Kristen. I do apologise. I only get a little flicker on my iPhone. Yeah, that's
No.
true. Yeah, definitely JP. Aussie blokes at a barbecue will still go and piss on the lemon tree.
If they've got
No
one.
one,
Right, the back
not
fence.
taboo at all, but women will never do that. And you'll see, no matter where you go in Australia, you go out for a night or you're at someone's place for a barbie and there's 15, 20 people, there's always a line of about 6 women ready to go to the toilet. What is that?
So, Tucker, what's the food like?
Oh, it'll be shit food. It'll be mushy. Pureed, I imagine, most of the food that he's getting. Probably pureed shawarma. No, I don't think it'll be shawarma. There'll be lots of vegetables. There'll be something that represents meat, but not necessarily is.
Is that what makes lemons yellow?
I think that's what it is in Australia. We've got some great lemons. By chance, and this is only by chance, because we had planned to go from London to New York and then up to Canada. We would have probably been with Tucker about now. So in one way, I'm glad he's getting this over and done with, because hopefully by the time we come next time, he'll be good. But, I mean, we all face adversity. It's just, shit happens. And generally, we get lucky. A lot of us bounce back from it, and I'm sure Tucker will. I just hope that the lesbian that they get the heart from and inserted into Tucker's body doesn't mean he'll continue to wear lippy and high heel shoes, because he does that now anyway. Shauna said something, it just came and went on my screen.
Mama Bear is hunting you down in every hospital in Canada, Tucker. You better heal up quick and get the hell out of Dodge.
No, actually, I don't know what's going to happen to the man in the can in the van, because Canadian, I don't know if you know about Australian authorities at the border. I don't think Canadian authorities are any different. I think he's going to be in for a rude awakening. And I haven't, but I'm sure someone has contacted the authorities saying, better watch out for this van.
No, it's a footy match still. We've got an oval just over the back of us. We've got a sports oval, and they've got footy practice.
Yep, I'll show you the lights. No, it's not just over the back, but 300 yards away. You can still hear them. I'll just do this for Tucker. Now, Tucker, when you get the nurse come in, see if she'll do a Sharon Stone for you. Oop,
You've got to move that
Oop.
up.
wrong knees.
Yeah. these
I don't know
two.
what I'm doing here.
Usually these two. Yeah, that's it.
Hello, nurse, nurse, nurse. Tucker, put your undies on.
Stop it.
I don't think that's the case, Jojo, but I don't think this Norm character is of stable mind.
Yeah, there's something not right with the whole situation. As simple as that. Can't put my finger on it, but it ain't right.
I think there's games being played, to be honest. Well, Canadian authorities, if they're just like Australian authorities, this is what would happen. Now, we don't have a country attached to Australia because we have ocean, but if a guy came to the border in Australia in a van and they'd say, hello, welcome to Australia, what's your purpose here? Oh, I'm here for a holiday. And all right,
And
well, how long do you plan to stay? And he'd say, oh, a couple of months maybe. And they'd want to know, in Australia, we'd like to see an access to your bank account. Can you please give me a printout, see what's in your bank? And they go, oh yeah, okay, you got 1,000. Yeah, that's not enough. Have you got someone that will feed you and keep you in accommodation while you're here? Good, get them to sign this in triplicate. Get back. I tell you what, this is all too hard. Go away. You organise it properly. Come here with more money because you're not going to let it into Australia. I don't think Canadian authorities are much different. I'll be honest with you. If you rocked up at the airport in Australia and you said you wanted to spend 6 months travelling around Australia and you had $3,000, they'd say no. It's not enough. And what's your purpose here? You come in here to work, are you? Well, we know that's not the case with the man in the van. He's not going to Canada to work.
but he's a YouTube.
But they don't know that.
He's a YouTube celebrity. He'll be allowed anywhere, he reckons.
He's a delusional,
Oh,
balding,
look, I know.
Middle
that.
Eastern
I know. I was being
waste of
smart.
space who has nothing to offer Canada. And do you think he's going to spend money in Canada? Reluctantly, maybe, but that's why tourists are let into countries, because you'll spend a bit of money. I have a feeling there's something happening. Yes, maybe Terry could be right. Maybe it's a Norm Dharma, Jeffrey's uncle. Don't know. But there's something not right.
Yeah, I've said that
Something
all along.
very delusional about what's going on both ends. The wide receiver and the pitcher. I think there's something not right.
Yeah, that's true, Hamid.
He wouldn't get his vehicle. In Australia, it's a bit different. Police would just pull him over and say, we're going to check your vehicle. You go, oh, what for? Roadworthy. They go, no, yellow sticker. Get a tow truck, mate.
Oh no, he'll just go to the border. I'm a YouTube celebrity. I've been e-begging.
No, that's not going to work.
I have a person who is giving me money. I'm going
It's
to
not.
pick up-
When someone says someone's going to look after me and give me money,
I know.
that's not a certainty.
I'm going to pick up, what's he picking up? A generator. He's going to pick up a generator,
Well,
so he has to go.
I'm pretty sure in Canada, as in Australia, I could post a generator to somebody. It probably cost $50. Something's not right. Something's amiss here.
Yeah, I've said that all along. Anyway, Tucker's safe.
Tucker's in the hands of capable nurses.
And yeah,
Tucker, can you live broadcast the sponge bathers? Because all the girls keep asking me. I won't be watching, but the girls have bought Tucker's sponge bathers live.
yep.
There you go. Get the old cash flow going. I don't know, but I doubt very much, and I'm guessing here, I doubt very much that the man in the van has no idea where this Norm lives. I bet Norm hasn't given his address to him. I'm only guessing, but I guess that's not happened.
You're going to
Do you know what I mean? It'll be meet me in Toronto at
Well,
this burger place.
you meet someone neutral.
Trust me.
In a neutral place first.
Yeah, but this has been a lead on for months, so yeah, that doesn't even pay for the gas.
Housekeeping.
No, I wish it was the case keeping. blocks of rent. The thing about property, there's two different aspects to property. There's land, and then there's land with a house on it. Milky Way, g'day. So the land doesn't lose value. All right, it's a very marginal win or loss on land over a long period of time. That's it. If you ever invest in land. But when you've got a property that's occupied either by an owner or by a renter, that will fluctuate. And no, a block of land around here, not a very big one, will set you back 500,000 or 600,000. And we're not in a big flash area. So no, land doesn't lose its value. Property does. Because if you're an investor and got 10 properties you're renting, but you can't get anyone to rent them, you've got to keep paying the land taxes, the rates, all these things you've got to pay. So you end up in a bit of trouble. And that's where a lot of people did the double dip in investment, where they only put a little bit down but bought half a dozen properties. And then the property collapse came, and now they're all underwater. They end up losing their own property as collateral, if you know what I mean. We're at that stage in Australia. You know, there's nothing saving a lot of people underwater here. But land, no matter where you are in the world, always buy land. You'll always get a good investment. You just sit on land, because it's not developed. There's no real big fees involved, like if you had a house on it, or properties. But it usually accumulates your wealth over a longer period of time. So it's like having a bank of money, just dirt. But they don't play footy early on Saturday morning. You mean here? Not sure.
If you're going to make a coffee seal, I'll have one, thanks.
Yes, that's an idea. Do you want to chat to these Melbourne? I'll go make us a drink.
Oh, just give 1 sec. Wait.
Put you over to the Supreme Commander. There you go.
Let's move it around that way and I'll sit over there.
It's warmed up a little bit.
Oh. That didn't work out good. Oh, can't see nothing. I have coffee, thanks. Oh, I can't. I've got to read the text on my phone because I can't read it on Seeds. Yeah, we're sort of used to it. It's a little bit chilly. So, Tucker, you still there? What are you getting to eat in hospital? What's the menu? And by the way, I want front row seats when you do the sponge bath video. Oh, thanks, Jojo. Jojo says every time he sees my hair, he craves noodles.
Is Tucker still there? The nurse is giving him a suppository.
I don't know, just ask. He hasn't answered yet. So did you put the milk in? Coffee, the sugar?
Done that.
And right, just checking. Always got to put the milk in first. We have instant coffee here. So you put the milk in first, so when you pour the hot water, it doesn't burn the coffee.
Just got to agree with her. There's no point fighting her.
And it tastes creamier.
Okay.
It does. It does taste creamier.
I don't know if... see this thing here? I'm just going to show you. It's that thing with the stand on. So you can put your camera in here and tilt it and all that. So, yeah, fancy little thing. We use that quite a bit in Europe.
So Itchy agrees with me, correct, see?
What's that?
About the coffee.
I'm not arguing with you, but if you ever
When
go
you're
to
doing instant coffee.
a flash restaurant, they always bring out coffee. It's always the black coffee in first,
But that's
and
percolated.
they give you a cream.
That's percolated. Life's too short.
Do you straighten your hair? She can't straighten her hair, is the answer to that.
Oh yeah, I can. I did once, and it went down my bottom.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
I did straighten it once, but it's not actually good for your hair because of the chemicals they use, so I won't do it again. I'm happy
Emma
how
says
it
it's
is.
called a trial pod. Okay.
It's called a what?
Trial pod.
Oh.
Yeah, but
I can't remember what it... Oh, I bought it originally as a selfie stick to take with us on our holiday. I never used it.
yeah, but I mean, it's great for doing little videos around the house now. Instead of, what I normally do was get my biscuit tin, which is about so high, turn the lid around, it's got a little knob on top, so it's flat. Then I put my camera and I balance it, so now I don't have to. I've got this.
That's true, Itchy. It's watery. It's horrible. Curly hair means smart. Oh, well, did you also know that natural curly hair is a genetic defect? So
Hello, Lake.
I'm happy with mine.
But like all the other guys on YouTube, I've got a hat on because I'm bald.
Hey, Lake.
And that's why we wear it, because we're a bit modest. Nah, got shitloads. It's like a fucking jungle in here. Look at this. Hey?
I wonder if RC Bully will come in the room.
Can you see that?
If you're there, RC, you can come in, just don't talk crap, and I won't time you out.
My hair, even, you won't see it now, but when it's wet, just goes ringlets.
Sure, no.
What'd you say?
You're not an idiot. She said her hair's naturally curly, and she's an idiot because I...
You just get the genetic handout. If you happen to have someone in your family that has hair, you get to keep it. But generally, most men go bald by my age. Actually, most of my mates are bald. I usually wear a hat because I don't like the reflection of the light in my eyes or the sun. So I don't know, he's been very quiet.
Yeah, Pink Tutu guy. Well, I
Yeah.
timed him out, what, 2-3 nights ago.
That's true, Hammers, they do.
Like, well, I was pretty patient. I think he's only
Dark
ever...
crust on bread, yeah. I
think
believe you,
it's
Itchy.
first one I've ever timed out. Anyway, he hasn't been back since.
There's lots of characters like that on YouTube. They have this propensity to be pricks just because they can. And most of them scream out, give me a wrench, give me a wrench.
Yeah, I got told all those things as a kid.
And it's like,
yeah.
it doesn't matter where you met them. You meet RAC Bully in real life, you'll probably be quite pleasant to start with, but end up being a prick later on when you get to know him. You really can't hide who you are. The way you type is the way you speak.
It's fine.
Believe me.
He can come in. We had conversations with him or having a bit of joke with him, but then he just comes, it's like he's got Tourette's syndrome. He comes out with the most stupidest comments.
He's one of those what we call small bell ringers. He wants attention, but not really too much. So just ring it every now and then. I'm a prick.
So if he's listening...
I don't think IRC's here. I think he's sulking. I have a feeling, because I warned him, that the man in the van will more than likely, as he does every 3 or 4 months, take his wrench away. You probably haven't seen him over there. He's probably skinning cats as we speak, or pulling wings off flies. Hi, Jag.
Hey, Jag.
I don't know why that is the case, but you can, trust me, if you watch somebody type, and you won't always get someone whose comprehensions, mine's not, but you get the gist of what they're saying. You can literally determine a type of character, even though you can't hear them. When you hear them, you determine that even more so. But people speak the way they write.
I agree, Shauna. We've, like I said a few times, people will be surprised actually how long ago Seeds and I actually came onto YouTube. We've known RC Bully for
before he was RC Bully.
Yeah.
I've just like with Tucker. If you're listening, Tucker, I knew about you from the word go. As a few other things, but you don't have to say it.
Hey, Jojo.
No, I wouldn't call you an arsehole unless it was to your face. But it's not that important. But I've always been one that looks and doesn't say very much. I go to lots of people's channels and watch their videos. I've got a 256. This is the 256 keeping. But I rarely comment. I rarely comment unless I've been very impressed. Yeah, mine's an iPhone 7 256. But I don't find a need to make a comment if there's not a need to make one.
Do we know Vinny and do you know Vinny and our friends? Huh?
I don't know what that means. We know Vinny.
We know Vinny.
Certainly do know Vinny. He's a nice chap.
Yeah.
I don't go to his room because he gets buffet bergs to go in there and women screaming and fighting. I just can't be bothered with that. He knows that.
He hasn't done that for a while, but yeah, we watch Vinny. We watch he does so good when he does driving and all that sort of stuff.
I don't know what it is, and this is not a sexist remark at all, but a lot of the rooms that I've been to where there's complete chaos and anger and hatred, it's one woman against another woman. I'm not saying that doesn't happen with men, but it's rare on YouTube. It's mainly women fighting women, and I don't get it. If I don't like Jojo, for example, I just say, mate, I just want nothing to do with you. He'd say, okay, that's fine, and we'd move on.
What does that mean, JP?
Women can't do it. They've just got to get the last word in and fight and fire up a hangout about how short the other lady's hair is and she's got a big nose, and just goes on and on and on. I once went into Kat's hangout a couple of years ago, and it was Kat, and she was friends with Lindy at the time, 3 or 4 other women, and they were going hammer and tong at shit for no reason, just not liking people. And I've said it many times in many hangouts, it's like listening to 14-year-old schoolgirls behind the shed having a smoke saying, I hate Betty, I'm going to punch you when I see her after school. That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, but some men can be just as bad. Some men can be just as bad with the gossip.
Again, I'm trying not to make this sexist, but most of the things I see in conflict are women against women.
How's our coffee going?
Better check. I think it's boiling. But our kettle doesn't go
So,
anymore.
who said they were making the coffee? It's fine, stay there, I'll go check.
Condescending bitch. Do you hear all that? Unbelievable. But I don't know what it. And there's no conciliatory. You could never say. I couldn't say at the moment. I know there's a war on with Lindy and several people, I imagine. But if I said, Lindy and Kat, come to my hangout and I'll mediate and we'll try and sort this out, it just turned to shit. It would just turn to shit. And I've always found it bemusing that people who have never met, and I mean never met, they've heard each other, they've texted each other, but they've never really met to find out what they're each are really like, can hate each other. I don't think it's possible in my psyche. If I had an Ondine Blue with somebody when I met them, they're probably going to be okay. But there's like the wars have to exist for them to get up each day and argue a point and point the finger and say, I hate you and this is the reason. It's silly. It's pointless. And I've famously said a few times, let's say if one of these people who hates the other person wins, all right, they win, what's the prize? What do you walk away with? Just the words, I told you so? After years and years and years of fighting each other? It's really quite strange. Yes, actually a lot of the men on YouTube, Jag, are women now.
What?
She said that a lot of the men on YouTube wear skirts. It's true. I don't have a problem with anyone's gender. Oh, look. Look at the size of that muffin. It must be 3 feet across.
Just enough to have with a coffee.
Just a baby one. Eileen, yeah, it's not that. You know, I've even seen people who have been arguing with each other stumble and realise what they're arguing about is pretty pointless, but they keep going anyway. It's for me, I'm a logic person. If I plant something and it just doesn't work every season, this particular, say it's cucumbers, I just can't get to go. I just give up. I'll plant something else.
Hey, Lynn.
But for some reason, these, Jojo would know what I'm talking about. There are wars on this planet that have been going on for hundreds of years. There's even a famous war that's called the 100 Years' War. But there are many wars that never, in other words, the conflicts keep going. It could be racial, it could be religious, it could be the colour of your skin, and they never seem to die down. But when the same people in the same country, with the same skin, the same history, argue with each other over absolute nonsense, there is no point to it. It's the argument that they're there for. You get what I'm saying? They're there for the shit show. And those people that follow those shit shows are just as bad. And there's probably a few of you in here saying, oh, that's not right, Seeds, I only do it for educational purposes. I'd turn them off, because that's what I do.
Oh,
Turn the buggers off.
Sometimes we do watch it.
Back over to the boss. I've had my little spiel.
Eating my muffin, don't move it back.
It's fine.
No.
Sheesh.
Oh, look.
I'm going to have my coffee.
Halo. There's my halo, look.
And my muffin. Girls, wouldn't you like muffins like that? Would you? Yeah.
I plant potatoes, stay in the middle of the road and keep my stick on the ice. Yeah, it is. It's entertaining sometimes. Everybody goes in. Even we do sometimes.
I mean, I don't mind a joke. A joke's good. Taking the piss out of each other, yeah, I cop it. And I give it, so I'm happy to take it. But when it goes over that line, where you're just abusing or attacking, or dickheads phoning people up, I mean, whoever's done that, you're a dickhead, okay? If you're listening, and you phoned people up regarding their work or their home, you're a total knobhead in my eyes.
We enjoyed our trip, Lynn. It was really good. And your home country, Scotland, yeah. We had a great time.
What we do have is heaps of Irishmen and Scotsmen in Australia.
It was a tiny little muffin. It was yum. I need two.
Do you want half this?
No. I'll go and get another one. It was yum with the coffee. Oh well, you can phone our bosses. Oh, I've got to go and get your battery thing. You can call our bosses because you're my boss, you'll be calling Seeds. If you call Seeds boss, you'll be calling me.
And, trust me, if someone infringed on my life, my family, my grandkids, or my kids, I will tear you apart. I will financially, not physically, because I don't have to, I could, emotionally, destroy you. Go for it.
And a word of warning, you call my phone, be prepared to get Snapchat. I love Snapchat, so if I've got your phone number, you're going to get a heap of Snapchats off me. So ring away.
I've had a few people over the years make veiled threats. One was seemed quite genuine. I gave him my name, my address, where I lived at the time, and I said, come round. Use that knife that you're going to put through to my throat. Come round. Never heard from him again. Disappeared off the internet. You have online at any given time thousands, and I mean thousands, of plastic gangsters. That's all they are. Is there a nutter in amongst them that would probably do things? I'm sure there is.
Oh God, it's
Without
funny.
question.
It's funny, Jojo, what they show at the end of some people's videos, isn't it? Like advertising another video. Yep.
It's far easier to be yourself, warts and all. If you like me, ugly mug. That's how it is. I mean, without plastic surgery, I'll never make Vogue. But I'm okay with that.
It's true, Jag. The written word can be very it can be taken the wrong way, depending on what mood the person's in when they actually read the words. It's true, it can be taken the wrong way.
Actually, Lynn, it's quite true that it can flow on into real life. Online, however, there is a phenomenon where people become something they're not. I'll give you two examples. Let's say, and I'm only saying this, Lynn, I'm not having a go. Let's say Lynn private messages me and says she's 26, she finds me incredibly attractive, wants to be with me, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? I'm going, yeah, Lynn, all right,
Tell
sure,
him he's
sure.
dreaming.
Tell him she's dreaming. But there are people that do that. And there are people that suck people in. We had a recent case in this country just this week where a woman pretended to be a man from a particular popular show on television and was contacting other women and being suggestive. She's now in jail, like a virgin. But the whole point of the exercise is, you know, if someone comes on here and does a little bit of embellishment, like say there's a lady of 55 and she says, I'm 45. I've got no problem with that. Or if someone uses a picture from 15 years ago as the avatar, that's okay. You're not doing any harm by doing that. Make yourself maybe feel a bit better. It's all good. But it's when you step over the line, you know what I mean?
Lynn said troublemakers on YouTube, do you think they're troublemakers in real life?
Not always.
Not always.
But what
I
it
don't
is,
believe.
it allows them this license online to be a plastic gangster. Well, they're the ones. If you give you the greatest example, and I don't mean this to be derogatory to the man in the van, but I've said it before. All the things he says that he craves, he wants you to love him. Do you know what it goes on and on and on about what he wants you to do. And then he'll tell you how bad you are. All he's doing is projecting. He wants to be genuinely loved, but is not. He wants to be wealthy and popular, but he's not. He doesn't have this exquisite vehicle of a home. He has a pile of a shit cargo van with no shitter or shower, which in my country is called a cargo van,
Hey,
not an
David.
RV. So, but he projects all these things about how powerful he is, and which means he's weak, how loved he is internationally. No one fucking knows him. So it's a projection. He wants to believe it, but no one else does.
The other sad thing is that, yes, some people come on here and pretend to be something they're not, but then they realise that they can actually make friends and you can meet people for real if you choose to, and then they realise, oh, I should have been myself. I shouldn't have put on this bullshit act. And then
No,
they
you're right.
stuffed it for themselves.
Itchy just said you can't bring reality into YouTube. You can't bring reality into social media because what it means is you break a lot of people's eggshells. And that's where fights come from. You know, if someone said Lindy's 90 years old but pretending to be 50, I mean, who really cares? It's a point of conjecture from someone else who just doesn't like her to highlight the fact that she's really 90 and not 50. Who cares? It's like the points of argument are so weak. You know, in a court of law, most of these things would just be dismissed because the judge would just say, piss off. You crazy 14-year-old girls, go away. There's no substance to anything that I've seen from most of the people who pretend to be plastic gangsters. They just go boo.
Yeah, it's true, Jags.
It's just nonsense.
Sometimes they're not heard at home, so they come on here to be heard, yep.
Look, I mean, there are people, and Tucker said it a couple of years ago, and I said it a long time ago, that people come on here to have a social interaction. There are a lot of people who struggle, and they're in good health, and
Maybe, Mac.
they've got all the capabilities of going out and meeting people, but they're introverts and they struggle. And I believe the internet helps them to actually converse with people they don't know, build their self-esteem up, and maybe in real life that allows them to go out and be a little bit more adventurous.
But at the end of the day, and I'll always say it, you can be yourself. What you see with us is what you get if you met us in real life. Ask JP. So you can be yourself. There's no need to be... I mean, we joke around, we muck around, do videos, or
Yeah, but I
say
mean,
things, but
we're not trying to be someone we're not.
no, exactly. I'll always be the cutest one, and Seeds will always be the tallest one. It's as simple as that.
Len, I've been chasing down e-beggars in one form or another, offline and online, for a long time. Had some success, not a great deal of success, but it's not, I've realised over time it's not the money. And there's about 20 people in this room. If I asked all 20 of you over the last 4 or 5 years that you've known about the man in the van, with all the money given to him, why is he still living in abject poverty? Because people just give him little bits that make him bounce along the poverty line. And then he has the delusion, and people feed the delusion.
Yeah, but it's also his
He
choice.
is everybody's organ grinder monkey. Truly. That's what he is. He's everyone's pet toy. And in the end, I don't know about you, but without doubt, he is eating himself to death. I'm not being mean. I am 60. But I think if you looked at him, you'd say he's not much younger than Seeds. He is terribly old looking. He's morbidly obese. So any money that people do give him, we know where that goes. So it's very sad. It's really sad. And I would not be surprised, and I won't be happy and dancing around if we heard that he had a cardiac arrest, liver failure, and passed away. Because the way he eats, one thing he misunderstands. He thinks it's the food types that he's eating. It's not. It's the quantity. He is eating for 3 people,
Oh, some of it.
and there's only one body that he's pumping it into. There's something not right with the Norm thing. I'm going to state that now. There's something definitely not right.
I've been saying that for ages.
And, you know, if there meets trouble up there, well, he's walked into it on his own accord. But he is literally eating himself to death. I've seen it in real life, and you'll witness it online. That's what he's doing. Yeah, there's a lot of repeat, isn't there, Dave? It's like rinse, repeat, and recycle. Could be a different person, but the same method's used over and over again. I feel sorry for people that don't have a lot of money and have to get by, but I used to do it when I was younger. I didn't have a lot of money, and I used to work hard to get by. No one, like I say, I couldn't imagine me sticking my hand out saying, "Hammers, can you give me $50?" when I'm, even at my age, still capable of going and earning it. If someone's not capable of earning it and they're in desperate means, normally the communities where I live gather together and we try and help out. Like we've had people who had their homes burnt down, had no insurance. All of a sudden, all the builders get together, the suppliers get together, and they build them another house. Why? Because they're part of the community. They're of value. Yeah, that's what I expect you would say. I would want you to say that, Hammers. But I'm being honest with you. I really do think that he's eating himself to death. You got it. I mean, there's 2 things in life that you learn is that you make mistakes. You become a fool when you keep repeating them. It is. Hard work gives you a reward. But you're allowed to make mistakes, but you've got to make new mistakes, not the same mistake over and over again. It becomes delusional when you think you're going to do the same thing on a different day and there's going to be a different result. There's not. I think he'll have trouble at the border. God, if he walked into Australia, they'd just kick him out.
And say he's a YouTube celebrity,
They'd laugh at him.
they'll commit him.
The Aussie guard would say, "Fuck off." But no, he wouldn't get into Australia based on the fact he has no employment. This is the big thing in Australia. You've got no employment, you haven't got enough money to survive for a couple of months, you have nowhere to go. They have a calculation. When you land in Australia, they say you need $300 a day for the month. So you better have $9 grand in your bank for a month's holiday.
But at the end of the day, no one really knows how much money he has. No one really knows if this Normeth, which I don't believe this name that's going out, that's really his name, you don't know what he has given him. He could have 5,000 in his wallet cash because of Normeth or somebody.
But he's so
Nobody knows.
yeah, but he's
any
so
of this.
naive. All he's doing, and I'm sure everyone would agree with me, there's only one reason he's going to Canada. you think there's another big bowl of candy there. Am I right? Who the hell travels all that way to get a generator? When for 600 mile, I think it is, I can post one from here 600 mile away, 50, 60 bucks in postage, not a problem. But drive all the way up there, and I'll guarantee, because I think Norm's a little bit sneaky, that the man in the can has no idea where Norm lives. I could be wrong. People could probably correct me now. I reckon Norm's going to be incognito all the time. He'll meet him somewhere, but not at his house. Yeah, there's a sexual undertone, and I don't know where that goes, but there certainly have been a few things I've read from time to time.
He's probably got a couple of thousand in his wallet as well, David. Nobody really knows except, I mean, I don't know. Does even Rosie know the full truth? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think that he'll get to go to his house. I think Norm is closing up shop, if you know what I mean. I always said this would come. You know, there could be a big rainbow candy bowl of something for him when he gets there, but I'm not thinking that's the case. I've always nicknamed Norm the Undertaker because he's killing the man in the van by giving him all this money. He's just filling up the body with cholesterol and visceral fat. And if you took, the thing is that I'm very aware of, you take Norm out of the equation now, gone completely, what do you have left?
Oh, he gets money from another
No, but
shelter.
I'm being serious.
How do we get on the subject of him anyway?
I don't know. Just dickheads on YouTube, I think. Well, look, I don't wish ill on him at all, but he's not learning a lesson. He keeps repeating the same mistakes. He is eating himself to death. None of his friends are actually stepping up and telling him that. And so he'll just go on his merry way until he crashes. It's one of those things, the lesson can only be learnt when he hits rock bottom.
When we travel, VMAC, we always get travel insurance. So when we come to the US and go to Canada next year, we will be having travel insurance.
It's about $10 a day.
Yeah, I don't care.
Each.
We get it for health and loss of baggage and
I don't need
flight
anything for
changes.
Canada. I don't need any insurance for Canada.
No, because we've got a
Because we have a Commonwealth agreement, like with the UK. No problem.
Yeah. But we
But
still
US, $10 a day.
we still took out insurance for if there was a change of flight or our bags got lost.
Yeah,
or
that was another
something.
reason you do it, but
Yeah.
your health-wise. No, you're mad not to do it. You've been to the US, JP. It's about $9 or $10 a day each. Is that what it worked out for you? I'm just guessing. I think we paid about $6
We
each.
paid $6 for
Europe.
For Europe, for England and Germany.
So if you're an American and you went to Australia, now I'm going to tell you, this is not a lie. My sister-in-law works at a hospital, and she's in the reception, and in very bold letters, if you are not an Australian and you are visiting Australia, one night's bed in a hospital is $2,500, not including anything else that might have happened to you. They're in big bold letters. If you don't have travel insurance when you come to Australia, they nail you. About 7. Yeah, that's about right. I think it was 8 or 9 that we looked at. But we're only there
See you, Itchy.
See, Itchy. We're only there for a month or so only about 300 each.
I don't care because ours also covered in case we had to change flights or something
Yeah,
happened.
if you had a
with
delay
flights.
and you missed a connection or something.
Or our luggage. I got included all that.
No, but you look at... I'm certainly not going to have an argument with any American here, but your health system is a nightmare. I've got American friends, I've got family living in the US. It is a nightmare. 1,500, yeah, you turn that to Australian dollars, it's 2,500 here. So that's why you take travel insurance. No, you're right, Len. It's a case of convenience. When love is delivered by only monetary gain, it soon evaporates.
Oh yeah, the metric. We've got metric.
You'd think he's getting a bargain, VMAC, when he rocks up and he says $1.60 a litre. He'd be
Yeah,
going, ooh,
that's like.
how cheap's that? Until he goes to pay.
Where I get confused. England is miles or kilometres?
It's both, actually. In the UK, you'll have kilometres and miles in some
And
areas.
Europe was.
And Ireland's different again.
Europe was metric, but it was miles, wasn't it?
No, it depends where you are.
Don't confuse me more.
I'm not trying to confuse you, but the road sign would say kilometres in some parts and then miles an hour in
I
another
thought
part.
England was miles.
But reality will come soon because medically he's 60-year-old man and not well. And like I say, people keep giving him pennies, he'll keep eating shit and peanuts.
Oh yeah, so in Canada it's kilometres.
Yeah, Canada's kilometres.
US is miles.
Yep.
Yeah. We're kilometres and we're metric.
Yep, but in parts of Europe they have a mixture. One thing that is impressive is the German rail system.
Oh, I love it.
Unbelievable. There's a video, I'm not telling you to go and watch it, but there's a video where you can see me stick a nice big Steinlager of beer, big pint of beer, in a skinny container, sitting on a little fold-out tray,
I'm lucky.
doing 240 kilometres an hour. The head of the beer didn't even move. That's classy. Man, they move those trains. Actually, all you hear when another train passes is, that's it. It's 40 carriages just gone.
Yeah, it's the same in Wales, Wales and Scotland. VMAC, they have it in English and in. God, I've gone blank with what their language is.
You're talking Gaelic.
Yeah, yeah.
The underground, however, is a bit different. JP's been on the underground. Depends which line you get on. There's heaps of lines going from
They're
different parts.
all crowded.
You'll get, well, they're all busy, but you'll get on one train, it's like smooth, beautiful. Then you go on an outer district line and it goes chicka chicka
Oh,
chicka
what,
chicka chicka chicka
what
chicka
couldn't I
chicka
cope
chicka.
with though? The damn
Oh.
escalators until
Yeah.
just about to leave. Then we found, there's actually lifts we could have used instead of the damn escalators, which were like, I'm exaggerating, but 200 feet steep, damn escalators. And
Yeah, really steep
I'm
escalators.
a bit OCD. I have to go on it on a certain side and then I can move over. And then in England, you've actually got to stand to the left because people...
No, you've got to stand on the right.
To the right. So people, I do know my left or right. So people can go past you on the left. But when I first go on, I have to go on the left and then I can move over. It's oh my God, it was a nightmare for me.
She doesn't like getting on an escalator. It's like watching a cat with wet feet. She doesn't know which foot to put down. Yeah, it's pretty easy to work out after a while. We worked it out pretty quick. But it's the trains. Depends which district line you get on. You get the shitty old trains. They still got them. Actually, one thing about Sydney, they still had a few old trains there when we were there last year, JP. Most of them are modern, though. And the man that would know about trains, because JP is a physical instructor for all the train drivers in Sydney, they go up to the Gold Coast.
Australia.
Most of the trains now in Sydney are pretty good.
These are his.
But our trains are flashy. I mean, our buses. Perth's got a great transport system. You get on a bus, you can plug your phone into a USB. Every seat's got one. You're always on a bus, someone's yelling out, "You forgot your phone, mate," because they just left it charged in. Trains are perfect. Always fairly much on time. The only thing we haven't got, and it's happening, is a train line to the airport, because going to the airport here is a pain in the ass. That's why we tend to take the later flights so it's quieter, don't we?
Mm.
Listen carefully, you can hear a train. Hear that?
Don't work too hard, VMAC.
Coffee break's over. Catch you later, mate. Yeah, the colours is what you go by in the underground. But Germany is just as complicated.
Yes, trains and planes were good.
We actually we were told to get on a train by one of the station mates. He said, go down to that platform 9 and get on that train. So we got on that train, and we thought it's just 10 minutes early. Oh well.
Well, it was actually
Germans are very efficient.
15 minutes early.
So we get on board and we get about halfway, and then the conductor comes out and sees your ticket. You said, oh, you should have gone on a different train.
Yeah, because we made the person move. We said, oh, this is our seat. I've
Yeah,
got
we told the bloke,
tickets."
mate, this is our seat. Piss off. He goes, no worries. That's his good.
We
And
were
it
on
wasn't
the
even
wrong-
our train,
we
so
were
it
on
wasn't
the
our
wrong
seat.
train.
But this guy, a young bloke, he said, oh, I might have to charge you the full fare, a couple €100. I said, that's not happening. I said, we were told to get on here by the station master. Anyway, he babbled on for a little while, charged €17. And what it was, we were on a slower train, so he paid more for the privilege of being
we
on
were
a slower
We
plane.
were on a faster
No,
train.
it was slower.
It wasn't. It was faster. Got us there.
Well, we stopped at the station where our train actually stopped and passed us.
No, we got there in an hour, where our train was meant to get us there in an hour 40.
He's not very good with numbers and figures. But
I am.
yeah, that's right. You're right, dear. Yeah.
Don't argue with me.
No,
I'm
perfectly right. Of course you are.
It was a faster train. That's why he charged us extra.
Yeah,
Excuse me while we just have a domestic. We'll be back in a minute.
but it was okay. Like I say, the train system's superb in Germany. And it's like, I mean, if you were going to, you'd be smart if you went to Europe and got what they call a Euro pass. I'm saying if you're a young person or a couple of people want to travel, you don't, everywhere you get off a train, you're near the main centre of places, so you can find accommodation pretty easy. Yes, you will, David, trust me. But that's what I do. A Euro pass is X amount of dollars. You can buy a monthly pass in Germany or a monthly pass in Europe. I think a monthly pass in Germany was only 60 or 70 euro. Go anywhere on any train. And that's pretty good because a one-way ticket can be like 15, 20 euros. So. But that's how I would do it if I was a younger fella travelling around, is definitely get a Euro pass. And you can take the trains, the ferries, the buses. Oh, easy answer there, Len. Definitely Ireland.
Ireland, yeah.
It's not only
Ireland,
very
Scotland.
pretty, it's very earthy and the people are very down to earth.
Yeah, Ireland and
And-
Scotland.
Well, I'm convincing the missus that we don't go in October. That's what she was thinking of doing, and I'm thinking that's October in the US, catching up with friends and family.
Yeah, I wanted.
Then November in Canada, I'm thinking this is not a good idea.
I wanted October because of Halloween, but then you saw how I was dressed in the videos. I was always cold. I don't think I'd cope too good.
No, I'm thinking,
Because
I'm
it'd be-
thinking May, June.
To be 4 to 6 weeks again in a cold country, because it's colder than Australia. Yeah, I was really always cold.
I would guarantee, I would underwrite the ticket that you would enjoy yourself in Ireland. We had on many occasions the Irish just walk up to us and say, "Oh, you're Australian," and they go, blah, 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 talk for 20 minutes. "G'day, mate," that, and very friendly.
All right, JP's getting a bit smart here with the Welsh words. He's probably Googling it.
All right, give me the name of that place with the second longest word in the world. JP, away you go. Yeah, I'm thinking May, Hammers.
Yeah.
If we get, say, the US in May, would be a good 3 or 4 weeks there, another 3 or 4 weeks in Canada.
Yeah, so that's
So it'd be
probably...
like, they'd probably be leaving at the end of June, which for me makes sense. You know, even June in Canada, it's nice, but it's not Australian heat.
So I have to suss out, and you have to tell me temperatures, so I pack accordingly. Like I said, the trip was fun. We totally enjoyed ourselves, even though I was always cold. But it's just you lug all this warm clothes with you. That means I have to buy less because I can't, or another suitcase, because I can't fit it in. Because your winter clothes take up all the space.
JP, did you stop at the old train station to get that photo? There's no vowels. It's like... And somebody did learn how to say it, but I'd never be able to repeat it.
Our tour guide said it.
Yeah. But it's the best photo opportunity we got a couple was at that train station, at the place. But yeah, you can walk into any Irish pub, and well, I could. I'm sure JP did the same thing, And they're just welcoming. Are you hungry? "No, I'm good." "Do you drink?" I said, "Yeah, that's what I come in here for." "Good, have one of these." Port my dog. Like I say, I mean, you'd probably agree with me, JP. You could spend 3 months in Ireland and have a fantastic holiday and never get bored. There'd be a big difference. I mean, in the UK, I'd struggle now. Yes, I've not been to America before, mainly because we've been waiting for all the zombies to die down. You do. So I'll be looking at getting a free drink. So I've travelled 30,000 miles, Hammers.
Oh, so you're gonna,
Give me a free drink. You say, "I'll give you half price."
So you're going to be a granny Jag.
Oh,
Jag girl said, "I've never been outside Oz.
Jag's too young to be a
but
granny.
I'd like to travel Europe. My daughter was going at the end of the year, but it changed her plans, having a baby instead." Oh,
Yeah, we got number 9 on the way. Our daughter-in-law is pregnant.
well, yeah, I'm between Ireland and Scotland. I'd
Yeah.
like to live in both places, JP.
There's not much I want to do or try in America. I just want to experience it,
I
David.
want to go to Salem.
She wants to go to Salem. I've got friends in Pennsylvania and family. The west coast of America, I'll be honest with you, doesn't really excite me. I mean, you know, white sandy beaches,
Marijuana.
bikinis. We got plenty of that there. I don't need that.
Oh, come on, you want to go look?
Now, Emma said there is no discount. Oh, great. I'll bring me fucking home. Put ice in
Discount?
that one, son. Yeah, but it's like one of those things. It's the people, not so much to do or places. It's people
Yeah, there
that
is
we
the-
get. And I like architecture, so I'll definitely be going to places like in Canada, Quebec, because it's stunning. I've got a friend that has been through there and given me many videos. It's just beautiful, full of Frenchmen, but that's okay. But, you know, it really doesn't matter where you go in the world. This is just me saying it. I could be wrong, but this is how I experience it. It's not the country, it's the people that make the trip enjoyable.
London was an experience. I enjoyed walking around and looking at it, but I couldn't live there, no. But it was fun to go around and look. Has anyone been to Italy or Sweden? No, I haven't been to Italy or Sweden. Yes, I want to see Walmart.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I do. I go into the supermarkets because I do all the shopping here, and the fresh veggie markets. In Europe, there's quite a lot of them. And there's not much difference. No matter where you go, things are pretty similar. Some prices, like our meat's a lot cheaper than in Europe. My goodness, they pay a fortune for their meat over there. I can still buy a decent steak for $10 off my butcher, a good sized steak. There are only 2 cool cities, Vancouver and Montreal.
Yeah, I'd like to go to those places as
Well,
well.
we hope to be doing Vancouver and Victoria, depending if our little furry friend is not mucking around still, chasing nurses. I don't want to really bring half a carton of beer down and put it on the waiting room floor. But yeah, Quebec. Not overexcited about Toronto, to be honest. I had a friend that lived there and he couldn't wait to get out of there. Definitely Quebec. Maybe a few of the other cities. But thinking about doing the journey across.
Hey, Bucky.
G'day, Bucky. Doing the journey across on the rail.
In the US.
Yeah. Oh no, in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a two night sleeper thing. Sounds interesting. But our big priority now, October we could still do, time-wise, because we'll be done here most of the construction. But, you know, it's just like it's temperature. I don't really want to be in a country where it's... I grew up in a country in the UK where around October you get sleet, cold, stormy, windy. You know, May, it's weird though, May, anywhere around the world, is a good month for weather in most countries. No, well, I'm thinking May in the US, June probably in Canada. Need to go through the Rockies. Yeah, actually we got plenty of people in Australia. We got mountains, snow, We have a 5 months ski season in Australia, and people go, "Nah, it's not possible." Yeah, we do. There was a report done about 4 years ago where 3 people died in an avalanche in Australia, or 2 did, and 1 survived. On the same day, bushfires killed about a dozen people, and floods killed about another 20. All in the one day, because we're a big country. See you later, Len. Have a good one, mate.
See you, Len. Don't worry about it, Jag girl. I love being called Orma. I mean, our eldest grandchild is 10. So for 10 years I've been called Orma.
No.
Yeah, William.
Ethan's 12.
Ethan's 11, 12. Yeah, 12. I love it.
No, can't be bothered. It looks like regurgitated food put on a plastic plate. No, I'm not going to eat that shit. That looks terrible. I mean, some of the food that I've seen that boy in a can eat looks like it's been regurgitated. It's awful. Nutritional value of a brick.
I don't know. I want to find out what is. I want to try local food like we did in London and
Oh, look, I mean, if we
Germany.
caught up with David, I'd say, take me to your best pizza place, or take me to a place where they do a good whatever.
Yeah, because...
But if he took me to a place of shawarma, I'd go,
No.
David, you eat the bastard. There's a difference. It's
And-
the people that
and-
make it worthwhile going.
God's sake, don't... well, I mean, I hate saying this, and I don't really eat it, but that's Texas mainly I'm thinking of, the massive steakhouses.
Mate of mine I used to work with went to Texas and did the challenge on the 72-ounce steak.
I mean, I couldn't do that.
He ate it. It was called the Dinosaur Challenge or something way back then in the 80s. He said, but he couldn't move for 3 days afterwards. He said his stomach was in knots. 72 ounces of steak. I couldn't do that now.
Oh my God.
We
JP,
get similar food in Australia, JP. A lot of the time it's not called shawarma. In Germany they have lots of Lebanese and Arabic restaurants, and the food's
Jag's
pretty
not,
good.
Sorry, Jag's not leaving. Lynn left.
But we eat, as a general rule, I like my meat, but we have loads of veggies.
I'm sure one of the girls we know is from Nova Scotia.
That would be Gail, I think,
Yeah.
because I think Roberta is from... There's a bay in Canada where this lady we met. Gotcha, David, gotcha. But there's a bay in Canada. Now, someone from Canada can throw some bays at me. I thought it was Coffin Bay, but it's not Coffin Bay that she's from.
No.
No, it's called Something Bay, so it's not Bay of something. It's Bay, Something Bay.
I'll go have a look at the moose she gave me. Maybe it's got the name
Yeah,
on there.
have a look at that. Oh, but that's just Canada on there, I think. Canada is beautiful. I've got an uncle who moved over there in the late 50s and farmed and still farm. Well, his son's farm now. They haven't got a lot of acreage. I mean, for an Australian farm, their acreage is only something like 2,500 acres. But in Australia, an average farm would probably be, I don't know, 200,000 acres. But he had a choice to come to Australia or Canada, and he went to Canada. And I know his sons did very well in business. But Australia and Canada are very similar in the middle of the last century, is that they had lots of immigrants go there. As in, you know, people with engineer degrees and that could
See,
offer
it's
true
lucky-
value.
It's lucky I looked at the little moose.
Does it say?
It's Thunder Bay.
There we go, Thunder Bay.
She's from Thunder Bay. She gave me this little gift
I don't know
as
if
we
I-
left the tour. She lives at Thunder Bay. That's Gail.
No, that's not Gail, that's Roberta.
Oh,
Because I know Gail's from Nova Scotia. So do any of you know Thunder Bay?
look, isn't he cute? I thought that
thought-
was a lovely little gift.
I thought Canadian moose were a bit bigger than that, but obviously they're only little buggers like near
Yeah.
Ontario. Okay, yep.
So,
Yeah. So that's probably someone that we'll go and visit.
so Roberta's the one with the curly hair.
Yeah, and on her property she's got a summer house.
That's the one who gave me this, and that's where she's from then.
Yeah. So Thunder Bay. Sounds like a drama series. Tonight on Thunder Bay. Did you have sex with him? No, I had sex with her. Now we're going to tell the whole neighborhood. Neighbors. Thunder Bay. I mean, I can't stand any of those shows. You're an Albertan. Well, there you're not too far away. But we're lucky when we are pretty close to all around Australia. I mean, Jag, have you ever been over to WA? And I'm not boasting, but our beaches put everything on the East Coast to shame. They really do. 200,000 lakes. Sounds good.
So what's Thunder Bay near?
Not right on it, but near Ontario. And he was just explaining there's thousands of lakes.
Oh,
And imagine each lake, even though it's not an ocean, can be called a bay of something. I'm having trouble with this. We're good now. Yeah, we're happy to, while we can, while we've still got our health, to do a bit of travelling. We've been to, and don't not go to Asian countries, some of them are magnificent. I liked Vietnam, the people were very friendly in Vietnam, particularly when they found out I was Australian. I'm just kidding. They don't like Americans very much.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Been to Vietnam. I don't really want to go again. I'd go.
Nice
back,
though. Thailand we'd go back to. Beautiful in Thailand.
I'd go back to Scotland and Ireland without blinking an eye.
But it's one of those things that it's obviously you've got to have some money or you save up. Hello, Scarlett. No, the bay we were looking for is called Thunder Bay near Ontario.
The ladies that were on the trip with us gave me a little moose, and she'd put pins on it, so I just went and checked him, and it's Thunder Bay they come from.
Yeah.
Well, one of them
And
does.
like I say, we met some really on Lake Superior.
That's it, yes. That's what they
Okay.
said.
Yep. But it's like you need to. By chance, you HK, would be more. Yes, we'd love to come and meet you, David. Chicago's only a stone's throw. If we fly around Canada, I mean, Chicago's this far away from Canada. It's not that far, and we'd love to catch up with you. But when it comes down to travelling, it's your health. I mean, I can tell you. I mean, I'm not kidding you. My wife walks quite regularly, and I do a little bit. But we would have walked, and I wouldn't be exaggerating, 10 mile on an average each day.
This is so much to see.
So, and I did it, and I was tired at the end of each day. Yeah, you have to come over, Jag. You'll love it here. You probably won't want to go home. But at least 10 mile a day, but you're looking at things and doing things. So come the end of the day, come about 9 o'clock at night, go, geez, I'm tired.
JP.
What?
JP says, thanks, Guns, for the invite.
You can.
You're
We'll
talking
put
to me,
JP in the high chair, Guns. It'll be all right. Just give him a bit of, tear off a bit of the pizza.
Well, when the house is done, JP,
Oh, you love fishing here, mate.
When the house
I wish
is
I was
done,
younger. I'd take you up north where I used to go.
You can bring your family over and stay. I can't ride a bike, Scarlett.
You can't swim.
We'd have to get a tandem.
Yeah, I'll be doing all the pedaling and steering. She'll be saying, yes, it's pretty good. Yep.
Get one of those little kid bikes that you pull at the back of a bike. You know those seats?
Yeah. But, I mean, all our kids swim like fish, but this one hates the water. We lived in Tassie for a year. We lived across the bay in Hobart. What was it called? Oaklands or
Oakland, yeah.
Oakland? We lived in Oakland, just across the river bridge in Tasmania. Very cold in Tasmania. Bloody cold. We drove on the way back to get to the ferry. We went through a little town called Luana,
Yeah.
and it was minus 13 degrees. And it was about 6 in the morning, and the sun was just coming up, and all the, there's no leaves on the trees. All these branches were just covered in 1.5 inches of ice, like ghostly figures.
Well, Jag girl, you're welcome to come over.
Yeah.
She's
Get
been
your ass over here.
on every east side,
We can get her over and she'll be my pool girl.
but she ain't been on the west side. Yeah.
Oh, you'll love it here.
Well, she can be your pool girl, and JP can be my pool man.
All right, no worries. Seems like a fair deal to me. That's what it looked like, Scarlett, with the sunlight coming through it. Good on you, Sea Yeah. It's the travelling.
Take
Like
care,
a lot of
Seal.
people worry about flying, and you don't have to worry about flying because if you're going to crash, it's like, I wonder if this is going to hurt. It's gone. There's no worrying about that. And I never worry about taking off. It's only the landing bit because aircraft actually don't do anything other than fall from the sky at a controlled crash.
I know, it's the whole thing.
And that's coming from a pilot who said that's actually what happens.
It's the whole thing with flying, so I take travel calm.
Yeah, Bucky, Roberta was telling me that where she lives, near Thunder Bay, when summertime comes, it's like 20,000 people just appear in all these little summer huts and cottages that they've got all over these islands. But for most of the year, they're not there. No one's there. That's how it works in Canada. It's too bloody cold otherwise. But they manage to grow crops and they're a very successful country. Yeah, Chicago's got a really deep history. I love history.
Devonport wasn't that far from where we were, Jag girl.
We're talking about
Jag girl lived in Devonport.
Devonport's the port where you come
Yeah.
on the Abel Tasman.
We, 20...
Is that where Jag is now?
No, she lived there seven
Oh, yeah.
years.
Well, you certainly know about the cold weather there. Bit better than down south though in Tassie. But you get that roaring wind come between the mainland and Devonport.
Yeah, we've been to Vietnam.
You'll love Vietnam, David. You go to Ho Chi Minh, which is old Saigon, and it's like any big city in the world. It's just too busy. But as soon as you get out into the country and the smaller towns, it's beautiful. People are really accommodating, friendly. You wouldn't spend more than, even if you were drinking heavily and eating too much food, you wouldn't spend $10 or $15 a day. Everything's so cheap.
Yeah, off season, true.
That's what I'm all about. I like talking to, we were lucky enough to speak to, I don't know what actually was called. He was leaving the day we went into this church near the tower actually. And it's a church that's been kept preserved, built originally in the 10th century. Okay, so it's old. And I think he was called a porter or something. He was not a clergyman, but he was the guy that told and showed people around. And the history is just unbelievable.
Whereabouts are you talking about?
The old church that we walked into. We found by chance because we were having a coffee, and the old church was behind us in Tower Hill.
Oh, yeah. This
And
was
I love this timber
Yeah.
throughout was just stunning. I mean, some of this stuff was carved in like the 11th century.
Yes, thunder boxes, yep.
And all on the floor, covered in marble and slate with the names of important people, and they're buried there. They're in the church. Would have been 50 or 60.
Yeah.
But the church is so old. People, I don't think they do services anymore. It's just kept for posterity, and there are a guy called a porter who takes you around and shows you. And you can pay for a tour, but he was just happy just to tell us.
Because that was his last day.
Yeah.
I
But,
grew up with outside toilets, Jag girl, with the thunderbox where Dad used to have to empty it in the pit down the backyard and then bury it. Oh my God, those were the days.
Henry II, during the reign of Henry II, I think earlier than that. 10th century, Scarlett. Are you Googling? Come on, don't cheat.
Now Scarlett knows, she doesn't have to Google.
In the 10th century, you're talking about the Normans.
Egypt. Now Egypt is fascinating. My daughter
just too
has
dangerous,
an
Dave, to be honest.
affinity for Egyptian stuff, but it's not Don't know if that's really on my bucket list of countries, actually.
For me, it's just too volatile. They treat women like crap, and I'm not saying out of tone.
No, there's probably
They
good.
do.
There's probably good parts. There's tourist areas like any country.
I mean, just recently a busload got killed in Egypt going through the pyramid areas in Giza.
I know.
That was last week. I think there was 11 or 12 people killed.
There, Scarlett doesn't Google. She knows.
William the
Conqueror.
Bastard, actually. That's what his name was, because William was the son of a king, but never married, so he was a son. In other words, he was a bastard. And he was known by his own people as being called William the Bastard. And he's the one that drew up eventually the Doomsday Book. And what that was to find out where everyone lived, what land they owed, how much taxes they were going to charge you, plus the names of conspirators and fighters against the French, which my family members' names are in there, because they hung, drawn and quarter, a few of them, for fighting them.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, JP. It's not just that it's unsafe, but it's just not a country I've ever thought, oh, I've got to go there.
I think one of the places that's a little bit safer but gives you that same thing, David, would be Morocco. It's got a lot more history in Morocco, actually, as intangible history. You can see it. In Egypt, there's only the obvious, some of the structures that the Romans built and what the Egyptians built. The pyramids are certainly magnificent. Yeah, I just think we're in and you could have said this 50 years ago, we're in a volatile time, but the Middle East is an absolute nightmare at the moment. We flew back from Germany to Singapore and then Singapore to Perth. But on the flight from Germany to Singapore, we diverted 1,500 miles.
Yep.
Now, one of the pursers came up and said, "Why are we diverting?" He said, "Oh, it could be air turbulence." I said, "No, mate, I mean, this is obvious.
They were
We're not
saying
flying over Egypt or Israel or..."
They were saying it to keep the other passengers.
And when we got off in Singapore, we then read the news where over 800 missiles were flying in the sky between Israel and the Gaza and Palestine. So that's why we diverted. It wasn't anything to do with turbulence. So it would suggest, we know in recent times planes have been knocked down, but it's very volatile. In fact, if you could avoid flying over the Middle East, and we could have done it by going, to the US, to England, and back the same way, avoiding the Middle East, I would do it that way.
Because everybody was starting to panic because they all had connecting flights.
Yep, we're the same.
Oh, what bit of turbulence, blah, blah, blah. But then when we got off, then we learnt the truth. Then everybody took their words back and said, oh yeah, I'd rather be alive and miss my plane than be shot down. So yeah.
I think if you're going to do South America, you need to give yourself a bit of time. Because I've friends in different parts of South America that I've known over the years, and they're totally different people. Quite friendly, all of them, but they have a different... The thing that I'm always aware of is that I am the visitor in a country. Even when I go to the US, I won't be bombasting around saying I'm an Australian, blah, 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 blah. That won't happen. When I'm in someone else's country, I'm there by privilege. They've let me in. And as such, I will just sit back and soak up and learn. Because you can't go to another country just because maybe your country's richer than that country and presume you can boss people around. That's the worst thing to do. Just sit back, and I can tell you, if you learn a little bit of the lingo, maybe before you go, but it's easier when you get to a country because you can hear how they say things and you can pick it up quickly. Waiters, waitresses, and people in public transport, they appreciate you making an attempt to speak their language. And most of the time they have a bit of a giggle at you, but they know what you're saying, and they do appreciate that. In other words, you're making an effort. There's an old thing about English people when they go overseas. All they do, typical Englishman will get to Vietnam and just talk louder. I want some bread and butter. It's like if talking louder, the Vietnamese go, "Oh, I understand fully." No, you're just yelling at them. But I've been overseas many, and I've seen that. I've seen the Americans do it, the Poms do it. Australians generally just do this. They go, and the guy goes, "No worries."
Yes.
Oh, you're a Mayflower descendant. You're a marked woman, Scarlett.
Scarlett, it's true. Everybody has an amazing story. Sometimes you don't get to hear about your history because your family decides it's too embarrassing to reveal it until they're just about dead, which is what my mother did. That we have, my grandmother was actually full bred
Hammers, you work in a pub.
gypsy.
That's not true. The one who talks loudest is the first flying out the door. Yeah, you're all right, mate. You get them, and if you work in a pub, or have done, I have, the people just get louder and louder, and there's normally just one or two blokes that get even louder than everyone else. They're screaming at everyone, and you know it's going to turn into a fight and
Oh
a
my
blue.
God, Jake, that reminds me of a story of my friend. Like, I was staying at my girlfriend's house, and it was the pan man was coming around to pick up the toilet, and he went to lift the pan on his shoulder, how they used to carry them, and he said, oh, he didn't think anyone heard him, but people hear shit like elephants. Well, then it wasn't even out the gate, and the bottom of the pan came out all over him.
I mean, people call them skeletons. I mean, if you've got a murderer in the family, or a horse thief, as Scarlett said, there's nothing you can do about it, but you're not guilty. And some people don't like that. In Australia, they embrace it. If you've got a convict in your family history that came to Australia, and we have, we embrace it. We think, yeah, most of the crimes that people committed to get transported to Australia were like steal bread or sheep. And then they get, 25 years in the colonies. But most of them become ticketed leave, which means they become free men. And they got land and they worked hard and had families, and the descendants of them are quite proud of that fact. So, yeah, I mean, we don't, we had Ned Kelly, and you will hear stories about how Ned Kelly's revered. Ned Kelly, just a character, he was a bit of a bastard. Killed a lot of people, along with his brother Dan and a few others. But he became legend because of what he did.
Oh, that would have been cool, Bucky.
Across Lake Erie.
So it's and all the history you people have in your family have. I've done up a family history tin. So certain things go into this tin, and anything I find, like, as bless them, as my parents passed, I put some of their documentations into this tin. I've added stuff from us for the kids and the grandkids. So yeah, I do a family history tin up.
Yeah, very interesting, Bucky, the Prohibition. Quite a really weird period of time throughout the world. Didn't work in Australia. Prohibition didn't last. Some bloke said, well, we've got to stop drinking. The guy said, fuck off. Didn't happen. But it did in America, it did in other countries, and it was like a religious movement to righteousness, and man, it caused more problems than it ever helped anything, let's be honest. I mean, telling people fundamentally that work hard that they can't drink, you think that's going to work? And as soon as you make things illegal, people will find a back door. That's why I say make all drugs legal. Everything. Heroin, make it all legal. Worst drugs in the world, make it legal. Because when it's out in the open, two things happen. A lot of people go, oh, I'm not interested now. Or it's controlled. And if you still commit a crime under a drug, you still get a punishment. But we don't make the drug the punishment. Big difference. Rehabilitation, costs of imprisonment is just astronomical. 70% of people in Australia are in there for drug crimes. Just crazy. Just because they can't take drugs, they go to jail. In my eyes, you go to jail for committing a crime. Remove the drug as a crime, you empty our jails, and you have some sort of control.
Yeah, JP,
But what would I know?
that's so interesting, JP. And every time I read that about Culloden and that, I just think of Outlanders and Jamie.
We just watched the last episode of Outlander on Series 3, and there's going to be another series. But they're in the cabin of the ship, and he's grabbing her by the arse saying, you've got the roundest arse of any woman I've ever met. But you do make squeaking noises. Piss myself laughing. It's so funny. Yeah, I mean, all it did was put everything underground, Hammett. I mean, it didn't achieve anything. The moral righteousness was ridiculous. And let's be honest, the churches have a horrendous history. Not many people go to church in Australia anymore, and I'm not knocking anyone with any faith, but you don't need a brick and mortar building to go to express your faith.
So,
Never have.
JP, you tell me that there's a castle in your family that we could have gone to and stayed in, and we could have visited
We've got
it.
dukes and earls in our family, but they left me nothing. The bastards.
Yeah, actually, our family was supposed to have a castle as well, but I don't know whatever happened to that. Probably was just like, look how cold it's getting.
It's getting cooler.
You weren't allowed. The chef was away. Gee.
Tell you what I will do, and there's loads of good people that we get come in every now and then, is that when we get this built and I'm getting a better computer for my office, we will have hangouts where I invite Jag on the panel and Hammers and David and just have, because we're talking and we're hearing what you're typing, but it'd be more fun if we were getting up there and just every now and then just hanging out with no drama and no crap, just good people getting together.
Your computer's a bit of a pain in the ass to do a panel. It's still showing that there's nobody in the room for me.
Okay, they're all ghosts.
So I don't even know how many's in the room.
Don't know.
JP, how many's in the room?
Well, we got the opportunity in the future, and I'm not going to do regular hangouts. I'll just hope between all of us, maybe JP will do a hangout, Hammers when he gets time, David, and just stay away from the nonsense and talk about the stuff we're talking about. I really enjoy that type of conversation.
Oh, thanks. It's 17 apparently. Well, no, mine's showing 0, JP. That's why I asked. Mine's showing that we're all talking to ghosts here.
Okay, no, I'll see people chatting.
I know, so can I.
But there's so much nonsense on YouTube that I avoid. I rarely go to people's channels now. And when I do go, some of the people I do like, and I would say it to Awesome's face, I'd be saying every now and then it turns into a bit of a bitch fight and I just leave. But most of the time it's pretty good. But you don't have to be anywhere you're not welcome. It's not as if people are having a go at me, but I just find it boring. Yeah, I've always believed that. You know, the difference between some people and my logic is that whether we were created and we have a God, or whether we came from evolution, no matter which way you look at it, we all came back, and in the beginning we were all brothers and sisters. Whether you believe in God or whether you believe in evolution, we all brothers and sisters.
Say hi to Sid.
I will do.
Angel.
I've just got to quickly check my battery because I think something's going on here. Wait a sec.
What is it saying?
It just told me I'm down to 10%. Hello, Sids.
Spinning.
Says I'm live now. You're live now. Let me see if I've got to do this live chat thing. Probably buggered it up, Naomi. You know how clever I am with this technology. Is it on?
Now you're back.
Okay. Yeah, I don't, like I say, the drama, it's like television. When the dramas come on, I just turn them off. I don't, look, there's a difference. I don't mind hearing a story from somebody who's been doing it hard, or, you know, times are tough. You don't always have to reach for your wallet for somebody. You can reach and just reach out to them and talk to them. Between all of us, say there are 10 people in here and we're all over 50, that's 500 years of experience. One of us would have had a similar experience that someone going through a hard time is going through in the past. So we've all got something to contribute without taking the dramatic turn and attacking them.
Yeah, but it's I'm missing RC Bully. I'm missing Sweet Pea.
I think he's
I think he's annoyed with me. He hasn't come back in since I...
And I'll be honest with you, if someone jumped on here or came around my place and started talking about growing veggies, I'll probably be here 6 hours, had a few beers with them, and just because I love it. So there are certain things that we do find an attraction to.
Yeah, it's true, David, how far back life goes, yeah. Yeah, sometimes, we all sometimes do listen to a little bit of drama. That's true, JP.
Teenagers, you know you're truly being punished because there's a girl in amongst them. Or two, I think in JP's case.
Oh, you're nearly 50, Hamid. Happy 50th shortly.
50 years old. I remember when I was 50, they were the days. Yeah.
Well, you were born in 1856. Or is it 59 now?
It is, you know, the fact that even if you go down, have a coffee with someone, spend a couple of hours, watch people walk by, have another coffee, have a laugh, and then go home, that's a good day. It's like going down the river with a fishing pole and not catching any fish. A bad day's fishing beats a hard day's work any day. So doing those little things in life that you enjoy doesn't have to come with an absolute reward, like fishing, or maybe you don't catch up with somebody, but you still have a coffee and watch people go by for an hour or two. Good fun. A lot of the drama, as people call it, are things that happen in our lives. Okay, so you can have an attraction to watching that because you remember when you were physically attacked by somebody or abused by somebody. So there's an affinity to it, but it's all the embellishment on YouTube which makes it unbelievable. I mean, literally unbelievable. Tall stories told by people who have got much better things to do. I mean, I don't hate anyone, but like I say, with Lindy and Kat and the whole bunch and caboodle of them, they just want the fight. It doesn't matter who it's with. They just want to have the conflict. And I'm not interested. Well, I just wouldn't tolerate it. I don't care. I'll give you an example. Even if I didn't get on with Hammers, which I do, but if I didn't, I can tolerate him. I can agree to disagree. I don't need a name call or go down that path. I just, basically could ignore him. But the point is, eventually, what happens, and YouTube's no exception, is that people with a general yearning just to have an entertaining and a good time with other people, like me, just end up closing, not going to that channel, not going to that channel, and just going to 4 or 5 channels that you enjoy.
Oh, haha, Milky. Hamid will put you to the test. He's striving to be the fastest barman on the planet. The Milky Right seats was threatening earlier on, though.
It would have been in jest, Milky. I don't threaten anyone. I was very lucky when I was about 26, 27 years age. Something happened where someone was really treated badly and I nearly killed a bloke. I'm pretty sure some of you would have a similar story. But I'm a big bloke. And I punched this guy really hard, 6 or 7 times. And on the ground, my best mate grabbed my arm and actually eventually twisted me off him. I think I was 1 or 2 punches away from spending a long time in prison. And we're all in that category. Mine was pure rage of what this person had done to a person. And when it comes down to, have you guys been through that? I would put money on it. But I was very fortunate that my best friend at the time eventually, didn't get me straight away, dragged me off. Because I would have finished this person for sure, without question. It's like sometimes Americans have said things like, oh, you Aussies don't have any guns. It's not true. In my time, I've owned a 44 Winchester, old 303, 7.62, small arms, shotguns, and what did I used to do with them? I used to go and shoot things to eat them. That's it. No intent in my heart at all to ever use a weapon on another person. And I would never kill a beast if I wasn't going to eat it. So that's why.
Cockroaches. Except for cockroaches.
Yeah. Yes, everyone's got the license to go in there and call him a dickhead. There's nothing wrong with that. He's just oblivious to reality. I mean, it's sad. I mean, I've worked in a prison treating people with similar delusion, And it doesn't matter whether you get professional help or not, unless you hit rock bottom, you'll keep believing that delusion. This may be the time coming up, because I state again, I think there's a twin sword with Norm. I don't think it's all as it seems to be.
Yes, you're never too old to learn, and every day you should learn something new. Make it your mission to make life interesting. And there's so much
Good
you
sits.
actually take for granted.
When you get the opportunity to, Sids, just drop a comment in my chat that you've got that particular video up, because I don't always get notifications.
No, we don't actually.
But I will get a notification if you leave me a comment and you just put the link to your video. Hello, Awesome.
Hey, Awesome.
We were just talking about you. All of us. And
No,
how mean and nasty you... No, I'm just kidding.
No, we weren't Awesome.
No. Tucker came in for a while, but I think the nurses have got him bent over the bench with a suppository about the size of a small dog. It's for your good, son. But he did pop in and say hello. So do that, Sids. When you get that video, whatever video, as soon as you leave a comment with a link, then I'll go and have a look at it. And those who aren't subbed up to Sids, sub up. Because she's going to do cooking videos.
Now, David, behave yourself. Remember, Awesome's got a wrench, and I have a wrench, and we know how to use it. Just ask RC Bully. Just kidding, just kidding.
Like so, I go to quite a few people's channels and look at things they do. I don't comment a lot. I just observe. And that's not weird. That's just sitting back thinking, yeah, it sort of interests me.
You just hate typing. That's your problem.
No, that's not true.
You do.
No, that's
you
not
hate
true.
typing.
If I've got nothing to say, I generally don't say anything. I've been in and out of Awesomes quite a lot without saying anything, and on occasions I say hello. But I don't always say.
Yeah, I don't always get notifications, to be honest.
I'll just show Awesome this. See this, Awesome? This is where you can put your phone into at the top there.
What did Hamid?
And
Hamid called it something.
that can be banned up and down. It's like a selfie stick, but it's got a little stand, and I'm thinking of your son. If he gets his camera, like I say, this can be moved downwards over where you're cooking.
But
That would be something handy to use instead of like I used to use a biscuit tin.
But that's to hold an iPhone, not a normal
No, any
camera.
phone, doesn't matter. It's not specifically iPhone. It's got that adjustable, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's for phones, sorry, not just iPhones, you're right. It's
So
for
any phone is what I'm
any
saying.
mobiles, yeah.
I won't say anything that you told me about her, David, particularly about the pole and the dancing and stuff. That's not going to be mentioned. But yeah, get one of them, Awesome. I think it was about 20 bucks, 20,
Yeah.
25 bucks. Perfect for your son to do those cooking videos. Or even you. Where did you get this from, Awesome's asking?
I got it from a shop we call JB Hi-Fi here.
I don't use these button things.
This is that you sync it with your phone, that you can take this off, and then you can push the buttons to take a photo and start things, but I haven't actually synced this properly to Sid's
But this
phone.
is the best bit. Because you can, with this, if you want to walk along the street, you just fold that down, or you just unscrew that. You know what I mean? So you can just walk around like a selfie stick. But the beauty, if you're doing cooking videos, you can set it up.
Guns.
It's really good.
Stop it. I'm on Hooker's side, but just send me an email later, Guns. Just kidding. Gums said he's got the dirt on it. Awesome.
Oh, I don't do the cooching. But I thought that was something you might be interested in, Awesome. Particularly, you say your son likes to cook. You like to help him. You can do cooking videos together. And that way you don't have to put your face on camera. You can just put it over the food. Because it's a good 20 inches high.
Oh, it's adjustable.
Oh, it goes even higher
It
too.
goes even when you.
Yeah, but I've got it down as low as I
You've
can.
got it on lock. Yeah.
Oh, Sids is going to send you a link. You got the same one, have you, Sids? About 20, 25 bucks, I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's good little thing actually.
But I did a few videos recently using it instead of my biscuit
See?
tin.
Just show that they fold down
What are you talking about?
the legs,
Yeah.
and that unscrews, so you can
that just unscrews.
take it off if you're walking. You don't have to have that on. Yeah.
Handy. Screws on. And then the legs come out. Like, I wouldn't press down really heavily on it.
No,
Cause
no.
but it's got enough strength in it to certainly hold a phone. Really good. Like, even if you were at a picnic or on a bench or something, and it's always awkward holding the camera and everything's moving. And of course, when I start using it, I carry it around and point with it, when in fact I should just be using it. But for cooking videos, it's going to be really handy for me. Well, that will do it.
That will do it. Awesome, yeah.
You see it adjust this way, and even you put it on angles or whatever you want, but it goes another foot high. It probably goes to about 2.5 feet high. But if you've got a bench next to a stove, that's perfect. Look at the pan or on your ingredients.
Yeah, that's the name of ours.
Is it back to front?
I'm not seeing it
Is
yet
anyone getting that?
because we've
Bit
got
blurry, I
lag.
think.
Okay. Turn it. Yeah, now you've got it. That's right. Signet Go Stick.
Yeah, Signet Go Stick. Yeah, just duct tape it. Well, like I've seen one. You know the GoPros that have got the head things. You do that. Of course, then you forget you got it on and you're still alive, and you
That's
go
it.
to the dunny.
That's it, JP. That's
You go to the
about it.
dunny and have an amorous encounter with your partner, and then
What?
say, shit. You'll say, what's that thing on your head? You go, oh shit. I don't dislike Rosie, but I won't go there. I don't like the idea of people making profit from other people's misfortune. Just me. I could have given you footage that you would not have believed from Europe about homeless and how people are on the street dying and all that sort of thing, but I would never film that because that would be wrong. And to ask for money whilst you're doing that, that's taken advantage of people
there's a right,
with a disadvantage. There's a right time. If someone was doing that as a documentary
yeah,
to highlight the plight of people in
or
need,
to help somebody.
good. But if you're just doing it to speaks volumes as far as I'm concerned. That's just me.
Yeah, exactly. The story is always interesting, JP.
I've done it.
Everybody's got an interesting story.
I've sat down and have a smoke with a homeless person and find out what shit happened and when it happened, and you know, broke up with his missus, lost the house, and been on the street for a couple of years, like anybody could be.
I bought a GoPro Sids. I took mine back and got the Nikon. I just can't handle and don't like GoPros. Don't get me wrong, they do good footage. They do good videos, very clear, good for action. But what I didn't like is there was no zoom. With videos, you couldn't zoom in and out. So I took my GoPro back and bought a different camera. Yeah, well, there's too many attachments, but there's so much you can buy. I do have to get something for mine though. I noticed with my filming, it's got a good grip and everything. I've just got to learn to not. I thought I had the stabilizer on because I've got a stabilizer function in the camera. So, yeah, I'll get a, I don't know, some sort of holder for my camera, a gimbal.
Gimbal or something.
Yeah. Because when I'm zooming in and out, especially if I put the big lens on, I move it too much. So I'm still learning all that. Gunn says he has a strap that he puts to his wrist. Yeah, I hope you take it off. Take it off before you go to the bathroom.
But I will tell you something. Did you ever look at those comments that I was talking about from Ireland and
I don't have
Wales?
spare. From something
In a
else.
couple of weeks' time, we'll get organised and we're going to give away a couple of the souvenirs. You're going to go and grab them?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm going to the toilet.
Oh, we'll take the camera with you.
No.
And we're going to do a giveaway, a couple of medallions that we got from Ireland and Scotland, and a couple that we've got from Australia. Just random. There's no like I'm the smartest person will win it. It'll be a case of a particular video and you comment on it and then be willing. I don't care if you just give me a post office box. I don't need to know where you live. But if you're comfortable with that, we'll just post it to you. I'm not coming around and beat you up. But if you want to post it to post office box, I don't care. But we'll do that in a couple of weeks. She lost me when she had that millionaire. I think you're talking about Rosie, I'm not sure. I just don't like people being taken advantage of when they're in fact lives are a bit of a misery. That's me. So I don't go there anymore. I haven't gone there for a long time. She may think it's for a different reason, but that's the reason I don't like filming people who live a disadvantaged life and profit from it. That's wrong. If she was doing it to highlight their plight and get some sort of recompense or maybe a change in their lives for the better, be a good story. But it's not that. So that's why I don't go there. I don't hate her. I just don't want to follow that sort of thing. I find it distasteful. I spoke to a gypsy lady in Germany, and it was pretty straightforward how they wanted to come to Europe to get a better life. They brought, I think, 2 sons and a young granddaughter with them, and just didn't turn out that way. And they've been hopping from city to city, living in abject poverty. And none of these countries want to support people like with the cry for free health and education, when people who pay tax in those countries should be getting those benefits. So I can see where the conflict is. And they were talking about going back to Bulgaria. And there are gypsies from all over Europe. They don't have one specific country. They've always been nomadic, if you like. But they want a home. They just can't find a resting place. And people just don't like them. There's a history with gypsies throughout Europe, of course. I think everyone's a millionaire on Boit, David. I think you can't join Boit unless you've got like 10 million in the bank. And then you might just qualify. I find it distasteful when people say, I've got this money and that, and I've got... So? Money doesn't make you a better person. There are plenty of millionaires I know that are arseholes. But no, I don't like people throwing things in people's faces saying, I'm better than you because I have more money than you. No, you're not. Money's got nothing to do with your character. If you're an arsehole, whether you're poor or rich, makes no difference. And just because if you do have a little bit of wealth and you flaunt it at people and say they're belittled because you're better off financially, there couldn't be anything further from the truth at all. It's like when you do help somebody, the best way to do it is to do it quietly, without boasting or telling people. Yeah, buck is loaded. You've got 300 in Canadian and
In what?
shares, I mean.
Fake millionaire. I have Monopoly money. Does that count?
Only when playing Monopoly.
It's getting cold. It's a store that gives you coupons that look like money. I wasn't here, so I'm not sure what
Oh, no, we've got other Canadian friends that talk about Canadian Tire.
to talk about. What?
One of our good friends, Tom, I won't say his surname, but he lives in Canada. He works for them. Remember Tom?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Rhonda, his wife. He's the one that has an ice skating ring every winter just by pouring water over plastic at the front of his house.
Yeah. I mean, we joked while doing the holiday, we had a drink. Thanks for the super chat, but we don't have super chat.
Well, I've got it. I had it for years.
No, but you haven't got it on.
No, I've never used it.
I mean, with money comes responsibility if you're rich.
I think more importantly is making sure that when you do give to somebody that it's worthy in your eyes and that you've not just been beguiled
And what's
or been deceived.
What's the saying? Money doesn't bring happiness, but it sure helps. I mean, you know, a little bit of money, it's not a bad thing.
You can't buy any more wealth than that, David.
No.
The biggest wealth that you'll ever get is love. Be it from the weeest of grandchildren or your wife or people that admire you because of your honesty and integrity. That's wealth. You can't buy that. But some people think by waving a few dollars in the air, it impresses. Doesn't impress me. Never has. I remember a friend of mine when I used to live in a city north of Perth called Geraldton. Richard Dickey was his nickname. He was a fisherman, crayfisherman, and loaded heaps of money. But he looked like a bum. Thongs, baggy old shorts. But he liked going to the casino every now and then. So we'd get the bus down. Never drove. He had a Mercedes, but he thought too far. So we'd get the bus down to Perth and go to the casino. And he'd have a few too many drinks. He once got caught sleeping in the Burswood Gardens. And the police said, mate, you've got to move on. And he was drunk. He said, yeah, I get fucked. He had a bag with him. Took him to the court the next morning, and the police said, I think he can afford his own bail, Your Honour. And I said, well, the bail is $600. The guy said, well, he's got $45,000 in the bag that we found him with. And we asked him, Your Honour, why didn't he get a hotel? And he said, I was too pissed. I didn't know where I was. Case was dismissed. And Dickie had a bit of a laugh about it. More money than he poker, but he looked like a bum. So appearances are not everything. And usually, you know, the shiniest stone is not as polished as it seems. You must discern people over a period of time. And I've watched people come into side chats and within minutes say, I love you. You're so great. And I'm thinking, you've only just met this person. You know nothing of this person. So that's a folly in my eyes because you're very gullible.
Yes, and then I
That doesn't mean you're wrong by being affectionate. It means you're just very gullible
joke.
and vulnerable.
I love everybody in the room. Awesome. I love you.
Yeah, I don't use that word loosely, I'm afraid.
Yeah, well, you say we worked hard for that, JP.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's okay to fly in economy, but not when you're 6'5". JP's a good 6-footer, if not 6'2", I think. But even he would struggle in economy. Very unpleasant for a big fella. The wife would be fine in economy. She's like a little elf. But I struggle.
I mean, if it's short flights, we do pay the extra for those seats near the wings, JP. You know, where you got that extra leg room.
If you're smart, we'll probably go over East again in a few months or whatever, end of the year. But if you're smart, what you do is you just book for economy, like with Virgin, and then about 3 weeks later, you can upgrade or bid for business class. And we've always done that. And so you pay like $300 for a seat, and then I always put in like $300 for the upgrade, and we always get it. So we get business class for $600 instead of $2,000.
JP's, I think, having a go at you. See,
Why?
Singapore as flatbeds, that's wealth.
No, that was good.
Because that's only a 5-hour flight.
No, that is good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the freedom. But yeah, in a 12-hour flight, I couldn't do an economy. Just couldn't do it. I've probably got a handful of people blocked, but they're the ones that come in and.
Who? You haven't got any? No.
No, I think I've got like a few Russian invaders,
Oh,
like
yeah,
when they
but
come in and do things shit like
You're
that. And,
talking from years ago. You blocked.
yeah,
them.
no, I prefer to have a chat with somebody. Like IRC Bully gets blocked in a
Yeah,
lot of channels.
awesome. Bully hasn't been back in.
Pink Tutu got torn.
Maybe he's just busy.
He's listening. You're listening on one of your iPads, aren't you, Bully? Come on, admit it. Yeah, and it's not that I don't like him. I just know that in his delusion, he's a one-way ticket to hell. Physically, mentally, he won't learn. He won't listen. So unfortunately, Thor God will come down and crush him. Bully's not blocked.
He's not blocked, Hammett. I only timed him out for 300 seconds because he said a very nasty comment about Nicole. I beat JP to it, actually. I just did it as JP came in the room. So he's not blocked.
I'm bingo for me, Scarlett. I can accept people's indifferences, but I will look at their behaviour.
So Bully can come back. Just don't talk crap, that's all.
I always laugh when he comes and says, "Give me a wrench." Why? "Oh, I need a protective wrench." No, you don't. If you're not playing up for being an arsehole, you don't need any protection at all.
I will hunt him down. I will find out whose chat he's in and I'll chat, and then if he's got a wrench, I'll see if he times me out.
We didn't get to meet Nicole, but it was only through circumstance. It wasn't for the want of trying. And her mum took a bit of a turn for the worst while we were there, and family is always more important than anyone else.
Of course.
So,
And the bus, one of the tour people stuffed up our time to actually get into Manchester
still,
anyway. So
yeah, no, still, it didn't matter.
what's
The
meant
thought
to
was
be.
there, and
Yeah.
if she ever comes to Australia, she's welcome.
Yeah, so I timed him out, Sids, because he wasn't very nice.
We all should be, except that we can't get along with everyone. That's just what life is. But you don't need to make any enemies of them. Yes, I said it's a pacifier for Bully. I suggested he get a pink tutu. And everyone else has run with it, which is okay by me.
Hey, Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. Why would you be awkward meeting Nicole? You're not going to have sex with Nicole, JP. It's not going to happen.
Sorry, just...
And why would your wife feel a bit awkward?
Oh, well, anyway. I mean, I called RC Bully Sweet Pea, and then I timed him out.
No, RC's not Drury. RC had different names years ago. Same character. Didn't change. Hasn't changed. No, you don't want to have sex with Nicole, JP. You have a beautiful wife. When you come here, I'll wear a t-shirt when we go in the pool, because I don't want your wife going, "Oh my God, seeds and all them abs."
Oh, God.
You know, gluteus maximus. I'll be saying, "No, you're married to JP. Behave yourself. Now sit at the end of the table, all right? And I'll go in the pool. You stay out. Any funny business going on down the JP pavilion next to the awesome hooker garden bed."
Yep.
I will. I'll grow you a garden bed, awesome. So don't forget, people, Sid's Angel is going to be putting a video out, cooking shortly. No, I won't let that happen, JP. I'll throw you a net and say, "He's one of my fishermen. You must go with him." Even at my age, JP, I can't help myself. When I get a swimming pool and everyone's in there just being quiet and having fun, I run 30 feet. Can't take the kid out of someone. Water slides, I'm straight on there. You forget how old you are. You get down the bottom and go, "Oh, geez, that hurts. Oh, my knee." It's fun coming down at 70 mile an hour, but the body's a little different when you get older. Yes, even people I've disliked, I've said, oh, you have a good day, move on. Conflict is not a good result all round.
No, but sometimes people need to be told if they're out of
No,
order.
no. Well, you'll have compost in your garden, awesome, but it'll be the awesome hooker garden bed. I'll even get a little plaque.
No, there's going to be plants
Little
in there,
plaque
awesome.
on there.
Like sometimes I have to put seeds in his place.
Always. Where's me dinner? It's late. Where's me dinner? Breakfast in bed. Where is it?
No.
There are some people that only come on here to antagonise. And if you look at things in perspective, it's a reflection on them. When someone says something nasty about something else, it's usually a reflection of how they're feeling in their life and whether they slightly dislike this person, but they really go out to an all-out attack. It's usually saying, my life's miserable, so I'm going to try and make yours just as miserable. Well, I haven't even got the organised garden area, but I will start around about late September, and I'll get some seedlings going, and hopefully, if things work out, have garden beds put in.
Don't feel awful about your plants. I told you the story. I grew bonsai carrots.
In Awesome's case, I have no doubt a lot of the problem is overwatering and having feline friends that decide that it's also good to smack them around. Can you grow hostess? What's a hostess? I'm not sure whether that's a Latin name of something you've said, but it's not an esculentum, is it?
Oh, yum. Sid.
Nice one, Sid.
Oh,
I seriously only have to grow about 8 to 12 tomato plants each year.
Perennial.
And I have more tomatoes than I can know what to do with. Usually it's brandy wine, it's a mixture of paste tomatoes and cherry tomatoes, for instance, in the salad type thing. But honestly, I don't grow a lot of tomato bushes because I usually get a great production out of what I have.
Oh,
Who's
Saturday.
doing?
Awesome's going to. So Saturday,
Good.
What's that for us, Awesome? When's that? We have.
I'm not getting up at 3 in the morning.
Well, say your
Cherokee,
Saturday.
they're good. They're a little darker. They've got a bit of mixture of purple and
Hey, V Mackie.
the Cherokee I grow anyway.
So your Saturday is our Friday. Is it Awesome, or is it our Sunday?
They're called esculentum tomatoes. Good morning, Tucker. Is Tucker here? He was here earlier.
He was here earlier.
But I think he's getting a constant dose of go to sleep.
So 10 a.m. for us on a Friday morning or Sunday morning?
No, it'll be
Awesome.
Saturday morning for us. Friday. Sunday for you. All right. Okay.
Sunday 10. Okay. Yes, I can do that.
And hello, Roo. Roo to me. I didn't say good day to you. Good day, Roo.
So Sunday 10. I won't let Seeds play. He's too clever.
No. I'll just sit back and let you do all the answering.
God,
Some
I
sort
won't
of
get
question
it.
about purple, and she's in with a shot.
I won't get anything right then. Not like Seeds makes them so hard. Hey, Awesome.
I don't actually. Not that bad.
Bucky, send some here, please.
Bucky's very clever.
And Bucky's saying it's raining for the 10th day in a row. We could use some rain here.
Only the Canadians will understand me. Since late October, we have had 8 millimetre of rain. That's it. Late October last year till now, 8 millimetre of rain. It's dry.
Of course, if Jojo and JP are in the trivia, they'll be winning.
No, Hammers and Bucky, they're good.
Yep, they're good. Can I be on your team, Hamid and Bucky, please?
Most of the time, if you're answering a quiz question, your first thought is usually the correct one, or it's wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yep, I had several bowls of potato soup. Always had sausages in it. It is here, it is winter here though. It's 11.5 degrees at the moment. Yes, we have. Australia's always burning. No matter whether you took a satellite picture in January or December, following 12 months.
I mean, they
It'd be
say-
something burning in my country.
They say London has 4 seasons in one day. Well, Australia in one day can have floods, cyclones, fires.
Yep. But I think Sid saw the soup I made not long ago. There's 2 soups I really love. One is pea and ham soup, and the other is my leek bacon and potato. They're my favourite 2 soups. Another soup I like, I make a pumpkin soup. It's nice, thick and rich. It also has a bit of cream at the end, but also we throw in some butter beans at the end. Just gives it a little bit of a body as you're eating.
Oh, that sounds nice, David.
Hammers, here comes the quiz question for you and Bucky. What country hosted the 1960 Olympics? What country hosted the 1960 Olympics?
Everybody wants to think now. We're all
Wrong.
gearing for
Not USA.
horses.
Incorrect, Bucky. 1960.
China.
Not Palestine.
China.
It's where Chihuahuas come from.
Mexico.
Oh, correct. Mr. Angel gets it correct. Okay,
But the other thing
next
is,
question.
everybody's got 40 seconds.
In what
to
country
add.
was the 1964 Olympics held? Come on.
Come on, JP, lift your game. We've got to go in Awesomes on Sunday morning. Got to make a team.
No, Bucky just keeps right into USA. Trinidad, no. It's the land of the rising sun.
Huh?
What country hosted the 1964 Olympics? Japan. Not Germany. No. What was the name of the black American who won 5 gold medals at the Berlin Olympics in 1934? What was the name
Oh, I know
of
this.
the black African American
I can't think of his
who
name.
won 5 gold medals? Not Carl Lewis, he wasn't around then. And incorrect answer is Jesse Owens. That pissed off Hitler like you cannot imagine. You cannot imagine how pissed off he was. He's a racist bastard, so he didn't want a black man to win. But he already been told by the people around him saying he won't win anything. Let him compete.
And he did.
Gold medals. All right, let's get a bit more moving on. A couple more questions just for Hammers because he likes quiz questions. What was the name of the senator who ran for president with that strange woman from Alaska who no longer is with us as a Republican candidate in the presidential race? He's now passed. What was his name? You know, the lady said, "I can see Russia from my veranda." Correct. His name was John McCain. Whether you like the man or not, he certainly had a pretty rough life from the beginning, being a prisoner, and didn't have good health for a very long time. Or some hooker comes in with John McCain as
Let's
well.
see how good their memories.
Here's a question that you cannot answer. It's not possible.
What?
Who will be the Democratic presidential candidate in 2020? Any takers on that answer?
Sid's
Do
Vegemite.
you think
is
Biden
yum.
is actually going to, really? Can you find someone a bit younger? Joe Biden, perhaps? It's definitely not going to be John McCain. I mean, I like politics and I like, well, Beto O'Rourke. I can't see a candidate for the Democrats at the moment. I really can't see one. So you may get another 4 years. Elizabeth Warren? Don't know. maybe. But I think if you've got a good candidate for the Democrats, they would win. I think Trump has done what he was designed to do and come in and broke things and snapped certain traditions and stopped
Yep.
people lobbying.
Vote for VMAC.
VMAC could be the next president, even though she's from Canada. I'm sure they'll overlook that. Well, I'll tell you what, I had thought if she was genuine, I think Oprah Winfrey would win in a landslide.
Yep.
I don't think she'll run at all. Japan's the correct answer, David. Correct.
There's lag.
I think it's a time of disillusionment in politics in America. Could be Michael Obama. Is that what you just said? Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Michelle.
Yeah, but even
VMAC is
even
actually,
Obama said Michael.
VMAC is actually Michelle Obama. Yep, we'll vote for VMAC. That's it. Done and dusted.
You know, America is ripe, and I'm not trying this to start it off, by the way. There is so conflict within your own country. A civil war would not be a surprise.
Well, actually,
Maybe not as violent as a real civil war, but there is civil unrest within America.
Australia's
You just don't like each other.
voting thing on Saturday didn't go down well. We don't like who got in.
Scarlett, I believe that Trump getting into politics and getting the presidential reward was good for one reason. He has broken things. He has said to people, we're not doing it that way anymore. And he's done very bold things. Do I think he's going to be remembered as an excellent president? I don't think so. I'm not being mean.
Are you serious?
But you needed a president like Trump to come along and break things. Because how things were in America were just rotten.
Oh, catfight, did you hear that?
$23 for a Vegemite. I can tell you cheaper.
What? 23 Sids, I'll send you a sample packet. Email me your address.
Yeah, we'll send you one.
Gee, 23 bucks? You're kidding. I'll put my email in.
But I'm not going to take a side in your politics. That's for you people of America to decide. But the
Yeah,
economy
okay.
is at the moment so fragile all around the world. Believe me, it's not what it seems. The economy, and I said this about a year ago, I said if there is a trade war between China and the USA, the first countries to suffer will be countries like mine. Eventually it will affect America with tariffs and different charges and different impositions between both countries. Believe me, a trade war in the past has usually led to a real war. Don't take my word for it. Go and check the history books.
20, I can't
And we are
believe
heading
that.
for the biggest trade barriers that the world has ever seen in a very long time.
No,
Very long time.
Bucky, Vegemite is completely different to Marmite. Marmite, there's no comparison.
No.
There's my email. There's no space. I don't know why space was at the Angels at Yahoo. It's all together, Sids.
If I could have organised a leader for the United States, it's too late now, but I would have certainly picked, and it doesn't show my disposition or political left or right leanings, it just shows what I thought of the man. I would have definitely picked Ron Paul. Why? Well, he would have extinguished the Reserve Bank, and even on the other side of politics, and a lot of people don't agree with the next person I'm going to mention, but I wouldn't mind Dennis Kucinich, because he's not really right or left wing, Dennis, but there are people who say stories about him, whatever, but I certainly would have picked Ron Paul to pull America to be great again, because some of his ideas were fundamentally good for the people, and that's why he didn't get voted. I mean, the literal sense of the matter is the best person doesn't win the prize in America. But Ron Paul was a very honourable, straightforward, logical, and certainly knew where the damage was coming from America. Every time you spend $1, 10 cents goes to the Federal Reserve. I would abolish the Federal Reserve. It's got nothing. And if I guarantee you, Bucky, if you walked around the streets of America and said to people, what do you think about the Federal Reserve? How does it play a part in American life? They go, what? What are you talking about? It's so obscure to most people that they think it's part of the government. Most people in America, and these results are not me making it up, that's people being asked, what do you think of the Federal Reserve? They think it's a government department that should lift its game. It's got nothing to do with people or the government. It's a private institution of bankers who make money by printing it and charging you for the privilege. So was Ron Paul wrong in saying we should abolish the Federal Reserve? I'm surprised that Ron Paul never got assassinated. That's what I'm surprised.
See, sometimes I hate auto.
Federal Reserve protects savings account. Absolutely wrong, Kathy. Nothing to do with your savings or the interest you earn off it. That's usually paid by the banking system you go through, not the Federal Reserve. Sorry, I didn't want to knock you down, but that's not how it works. The Federal Reserve sets policy for government, and it's a private institution. It's crazy. You know, you've got a private institution determining how much interest that people in America should pay, but they're not a government department.
Okay, enough politics.
Yeah, we'll get off that. Anyway, my beef is that there's nothing wrong with America and its people. It's just run by fucking madmen.
Yeah, so
But you can only pick blue and red.
I can't believe that.
If you went to a supermarket in America, would you pick just a blue tin of beans or a red tin of beans? No, you get a big choice, but not in your politics. Blue or red. And let's get the advertising so we know that they're going to fight each other. Ever heard the words divide and conquer? Works a treat. Anyway, that's the end of the political broadcast. Now for the weather. If you happen to be sleeping on the outskirts of Chicago tonight, beware of tornadoes. There's a hurricane guns coming down the coast from Toronto.
Oh my God, I just realised. Well, if we come around May, June, what are we doing next year? May, June, or whatever, April, May, June. You
Yeah.
haven't got your cyclones then, have you? Tornadoes, I mean,
Yeah. You can get tornadoes in Canada.
or America. I mean, it'd be an experience, but I don't really want to be up and close and personal with a tornado.
I can't see you as a storm chaser, I must
Oh.
imagine.
Yeah, I could do that, but I have to be far away.
You'd want to be on the space station, yeah.
Yeah. No, just a safe vehicle.
But just ending on my political outburst, how dare I truly do not see a candidate that stands out for the Democrats. It's like a ship without a rudder at the moment. You're Americans, not me, but that's how I see it from the outside looking in. The Democrats are a ship without a rudder. Well, in Australia we have, I think, over 400 religions, and they're all coexisting with each other. We have mosques, we have different temples for the Jewish people, we have Christian. Unfortunately, for most of them, their public have
Have
abandoned
a
them.
good day, awesome.
There's very few people that go to church on any religious level. People are becoming far more spiritual and realising that they can still have their faith, but they don't need to go and pay somebody to go into a building to do it. That's Australia. I mean, churches are being sold all over this country because no one's in them. Have a good one, hooker. Don't overwater your herbs. Just saying. Yeah, it has been for thousands of years, Hammers. It's been one of those things that persecution has come unfairly. Control is demanded. And it's only in recent times, in the last 30 or 40 years, that they've been found out for what they really are. And I'm being honest, in Australia you could buy churches in the country areas for nothing because they're just going to ruin. No one goes there. Their dioceses are closing. The third highest Catholic priest in the world was Archbishop Pell, an Australian. He's now serving 6 years sentence for child sex offences. Not the sort of advertising you'd want if you were, running a business. But he's not the only one. So their institutions have been found out for what they were, and the destruction of many people's lives. So why would you go to a church when all that's been laid out in front of you? See, a faith is not a church. A faith is not that at all. And it doesn't matter where you practice your faith, whether it's only in your own mind. It doesn't matter. But people are very wary of institutions now, and they're leaving them in flocks. 1969, there was a survey done, and this is the year I came to Australia. 63% of Australians went to church on Saturday or Sunday. 63%. The last survey was done in 2011, so many years later, about 50 odd years later, and 3% of the population goes to church. 63, 3%. And that's been 8 years since that last survey, and since the outcome of a lot of things that have been unveiled, it'll be a lot lower now.
It's time to get ready for
Yeah, we certainly don't agree with our politicians, and we voice ourselves. I've told one Prime Minister to get fucked to his face, and I never got arrested. They walk amongst
Okay.
us in Australia. They don't have, like, bulletproof.
Sis is going to go get started on the video. I think
Sid's good, yep.
we should get ready for bed.
Drop a link in one of my comments and I'll spread the word for you, Sids.
I'm going to go get ready for bed.
Yeah, that would be a good metaphor, Hannah. Well, if you want to keep chatting, I suggest that one of you open up a room, carry the good people over there. I've enjoyed tonight, it's been great, it's good fun. And like I say, in the future we'll get, don't have to be a heap of people, maybe just 2 or 3 people come up on a panel and talk to the side chat like I've been doing and the wife's been doing. But we've got a good bunch of people that come in and out fairly regularly, and they don't always have to come here. Yeah, no, I think the days of organised religion are limited. I really do. Anyway, whatever time or day it is where you are, I hope you have a good one. JP, go to bed. It's too late for you. And we'll see you good people at another time. So thanks for coming. Bye-bye.